I was muted, probably for the best, because I was very, very, very loud previously. Troublesome.
It's been pretty. Hello everyone. I'm currently live on YouTube. You can get it from the link here. We're talking about Jimmy Kimmel being taken off air, the shooting of 2 Israeli soldiers by a Jordanian, and Trump's capture of media and Israel's.
I love your trad. I saw you say that earlier. Thank you. Yeah, it's a nice tattoo. I like it a lot. The notification title was absolutely hilarious. Easier to turn you down. No, it is not easier. Right, let's get right into the news. Keemstar Styly. I've not seen this, so...
Very nice to see you all. And, Mr. President, let me welcome you again for this unprecedented second state visit. And it's a great pleasure for me personally.
Burger! Hot Ham Radio. Howdy. And... Oh no, it's because I edited the stream title. Sorry, it's not meant to end in and. It was supposed to be Trump going full fash and Jordanian, and then I realised the other two work better together first. So thanks for the notification. I'm sure that mediocre violists love that, although I don't think they're here.
To welcome you to my home from home here at Chequers, and thank you very much for taking the time to say hello to the staff who are up.
It's kind of crazy that, like, we've had this whole debacle in the UK. We've had this whole debacle in the UK over Peter Mandelson because he was friends with Epstein, and now we're having just Epstein's BFF with us in the UK.
Absolutely, they've done a brilliant job, and they've been preparing for weeks, and it's really so good to have you here. So thank you so much. You are among friends. And I think we all agree there's so much to celebrate in the special relationship between our two countries. By standing together in war and in peace, It's
really crazy as well, because, like, they're all like, oh, we're so anti the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. We really don't want Israel to do these things. And Trump's just like, yeah, I'm pro this. And it's like, we're standing together in war.
Bond is the very foundation of our security, our freedom, and our prosperity. But what is the relationship all about when it comes down to brass tacks? It comes down to leaders, of course, leaders who respect each other, leaders who genuinely like each other.
Oh, this is so grotesque. I actually do know the thread you're talking about. I was planning on looking at it.
And it comes down to our unique relationship on defence, the closest the world has ever seen. It comes down to the connections between our people, ties of family and friendship. The President himself is a shining example of that. But it also comes down to business, to all of you here, and thank you so much for coming here this afternoon. It's fantastic to have you with us as the best evidence.
Yes, the Bad Hasbara episode. I saw someone posting about it already being out, but I think it's not got the video yet. But yeah, it was a very fun thing, and I'm glad I did it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity, so shout out Bad Hasbara.
Of that people-to-people, business-to-business relationship that thrives in the special relationship. In so many ways, this story is a story about enterprise. The US is our single biggest, largest trading partner. Companies like BP, GSK, Rolls-Royce, and AstraZeneca employ thousands of people in the United States. American companies like Microsoft, Citigroup, Boeing, Amazon, and Blackstone do the same here.
Does he mean BlackRock? What's Blackstone? Oh, it is. It is a real company.
Together, we support over 2.5 million jobs across both economies. So this relationship is embodied in each and every one of you here today. We have if you like, the great and the good of British and American business sitting with us. Leading lights in tech like Jensen, Ruth, Demis and Satya. Finance.
So weird. This is just like, what is this? The UK Prime Minister unequivocally supporting this guy.
Jane, Larry and Steve. And of course in pharma, in defence, energy and manufacturing. It is really great to see you all again, I should say, because of course we were together yesterday and we know each other very, very well, which is exactly as it should be. And just look at what we're achieving today together. The deals and investment that you're announcing today break all records. What a day. £250 billion flowing both ways across the Atlantic. It is the biggest investment package of its kind in British history by a country mile. So thank you so much for your contribution on your part in that as the embodiment of that special relation.
This is the Gluck Gluck 3000 that I've heard. Keir Starmer's doing tricks on it.
And let me spell out what that means. It means life-changing investments across the United Kingdom.
That will improve literally 0 lives apart from the ultra-rich. Mark my words.
It's expected to create 15,000 jobs in Belfast, in Birmingham, Hartlepool, the Humber and well beyond. It means thousands of working people will feel and will be better off. And it shows the potency of this partnership. US capital and entrepreneurial spirit combined with British ideas and ingenuity. The UK is one of the world's largest economies. Maybe not quite on the scale of the United States, I can.
God, to be fair to Keir Starmer, this is actually probably the right way to deal with Donald Trump, to just be like, you're my best friend, I love you, oh, we're not as good as you.
But my word, we punch above our weight. And we lead the world in expertise on quantum, on AI, life sciences, financial services and more. We have the only trillion-dollar tech sector in the West, outside of the US, again.
Oh, he is well and truly doing tricks on it.
I caveat. We have the best investment, the best universities, the most Nobel Prizes, and we have Dennis here outside the US.
Oh God, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen from Keir Starmer. Just, I mean, like, having to listen to it, as I say, like, it does make sense in the sense of he loves the glazing, but my God, Keir Starmer, you ain't got to do tricks on it like that. Just go, except for the US. God, it actually does look like there's a mad clip here.
Robert Peston, ITV. Mr. President, you alone in the whole world, have the power to persuade Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop the demolition of Gaza City, to stop the starvation of Palestine, and to stop the killing of civilians. If not now, when will you exercise that power to tell him to stop?
Sure.
And then for both of you...
But you do understand about October 7th.
You do understand. So believe me, I understand.
One of the worst days in the...
Do you think it's so funny as well, because this is such a scripted response? Bro, at least be like, oh, you're Jewish. Like, he didn't even acknowledge it. He knows that he can just say whatever. And Keir Starmer's just stood there like, yeah, this is great. Also, Keir Starmer's really small in comparison to Trump. Is Trump just really big? I thought that Keir Starmer wasn't short. How tall is Keir Starmer? Oh, wow, Keir Starmer's only a tiny bit taller than me. And Trump is 1.9 meters. Wow. I'd be dwarfed by Trump. He is doing tricks on it. Unrelated, sorry, but Chris, do you see the CNN article on how the One Piece flag is being used around the world? I haven't seen that, but I think that this is good because I hate anime.
Humanity. What happened, I have seen the tapes. Babies that are 4 months old, just chopped up to pieces. And
Babies chopped up to pieces! Bro, Trump is literally inventing new new Israeli propaganda by the second.
Uniquely.
Sorry, I had to tweet. Babies chopped up to pieces. Trump is inventing new Israeli propaganda nearly 2 years later.
I've seen the tapes, and I've seen the tapes. You're a professional, and so am I. And people forget about October 7th. I can't forget about it. So I want it to end, but I want the hostages back. I don't want the hostages used as human shields, which is what Hamas is threatening to do.
But as soon as they're back, that's the moment you will tell Netanyahu
Well,
to stop.
it would certainly help, but I have to have...
It's so funny as well. Like, it's like, by the way, for all these people who are just like, release the hostages, everything will be fine. Not true. Here you have Trump enunciating this.
The hostages back. And I don't want them back piecemeal, as I said before. I want them back.
I wonder if there's anything else from this little slobbering fest.
Thank you both. Chris. BBC earlier today, just BBC.
It looks like there's a full quote here.
First, Chris.
Thank you both. Chris Mason, BBC News. Mr. President, the UK is expected to recognise a Palestinian state in the coming days as the killing in Gaza continues. It often seems that you're the only person that Israel will listen to. What more can you say to them to tell them to stop? And why is the UK's position on a Palestinian state, in your view, wrong? And Prime Minister, what will the recognition of a Palestinian state actually achieve? Is it not just gesture politics to appease people in your own party? Thank you both.
Wow. It is just gesture politics. You don't normally expect that from, I think, the BBC.
Well, Chris, let me just start.
Sorry, Keir. What was that? Sorry, I didn't realise you could... He's broken the fourth wall. Wow. It's like Deadpool, an epic Marvel.
Start with that because we discussed this amongst other things. We had the best part of an hour, I think, upstairs earlier today, just one-to-one.
I'm surprised that they had time for that with all the dick riding.
Going through a number of affairs, world affairs, in private. And we absolutely agree on the need for peace and a roadmap because the situation in Gaza is intolerable. The hostages have been held for a very, very long time, and they must be freed. And we need aid to get into Gaza at speed. And so it's within that context of a plan for peace, which we're working hard on, which not only did we discuss this morning, but our two teams have been working.
Is the mic better now? I'm very close to it there, but I think the mic should be better now, right?
Together on the question of recognition needs to be seen, and so it's part of that overall package, which hopefully takes us from the appalling situation we're in now to the outcome of a safe and secure Israel, which we do not have, and a viable Palestinian state. Thank you.
Well, simply, I want the hostages released now, right now, not 1, 2, we'll give you 3 more tomorrow, and, you know, like it's been, but we're the ones that got all the hostages released. We got many, many came to the Oval Office, and I've heard stories like I've never thought even possible. There was no humanity, no anything. I said to them, was there any warmth shown during this stay?
He's also just repeating the same propaganda he did a year ago.
They offered you a little extra meal. They gave you a little smile, and they said, don't worry, you'll be okay. And every one of them said, not even a little.
By the way, that's also completely contradictory to some of the things that we've actually heard.
Amazing, you know, to think that during this stay, long stay, in some cases, we had a man the other day, 451 days he was there.
Also, phrasing it as a long stay is a pretty interesting way to do it.
I always ask that question. And was there any warmth shown? Just a little word of, you know, encouragement. And the answer is every time, absolutely not. I'm shocked to hear it. Because in the worst cases, there's always somebody that comes through. We have to remember October 7th, one of the worst, most violent days in the history of the world.
Also, October the 7th, relative to certain other days in human history, you know, I think we've had some pretty fucking bad days in human history that probably, what is the most bloody day? Like the first day of the Somme? My God, apparently an earthquake in China in in 1556 killed 830,000 people in a singular day. Trump wasn't thinking about that when he just said that. Yeah, I mean, Trump's reaction is comical to Charlie Kirk's death, where he's just like, we're building a ballroom for Xi Jinping. Maybe Trump did have in a mind that kind of thing. Wow. Look at some of these days. The Battle of the Frontiers, August 22nd, 27,000 people killed. Wow. 19,000 killed at the Somme. I guess that's I know it because it's the UK one. Crazy. Imagine that many people dying in a singular day. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, I guess maybe that's really high. Yeah, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki would be really high. Bro, the looking at the website of just like most people killed in a singular day. The Wagongchang explosion in Beijing, China, in the Wagong gunpowder factory destroyed part of the city and killed 20,000 people. Can you imagine how apocalyptic that was? Wow. Industrial Bhopal disaster. Dow Chemicals in India. Nuclear. Mayak nuclear storage, 270,000 people were exposed to dangerous radiation levels. Chelyabinsk. That's where Nafuckers is from. Structural collapse. Banquito Dam. 240,000 people. How do you normally grieve if not boasting about the ballroom you are having built? Or like... I care about at funerals. Hell yeah, I'm just thinking whenever my dear son Charlie Kirk is killed, my dear person who was practicing politics the right way gets killed, I just think, God, I need to build my ballroom. I need to build my new ballroom. Most hella shit. I mean, when Dresden got firebombed, Dresden was pretty like, when someone gets firebombed, the oxygen around you gets so hot that you just, like, burst. It's like, you're like, it cooks your insides. Crazy stuff. How many is it at Hiroshima? Like, 75,000? Between 90,000 and 180,000 people. No Wikipedia, I am not donating to you. Piss off. Yeah, I guess those are some of the biggest days of killing in a singular day. The explosion in India literally had birds falling out the sky. Which in the nuclear reactor? Is this an old shirt? Yeah, it is an old shirt, and it's different to the one yesterday. Ballroom in memory of Charlie Kirk, but it's like a playpen for kids with plastic balls. That's and you've all said you wanted to see this photo of Trump slurping spaghetti. Have any of you seen The Sopranos? I don't think can you play a short clip of like a film? Oh, well, I won't. But there's the clip of The Sopranos where Paulie's like, "Can I have macaroni and gravy?" And the Italians are like, "Gravy? You want grapes?" And he's like, "No." They're like, I thought the Americans are classless pieces of shit. You gotta give, Chris. I will not be giving any money to these damned Wikipedia people. That's why 80s anime was hella anti-American. They should make it even more anti-American. But the One Piece has inspired domestic terrorism. Oh, sorry, I'm in the way of the picture. Fuck. You should all see this. But what a classless piece of shit. This is not, and the problem is British people sit here and go, "This is not how you behave around the king." And it's like, this guy is a full-on fascist, bro. I don't care how he behaves in front of the king. I think the problem is that he's with the king in general. Like, why is he with the king? Why is he in our country? Like, what is this all about? Why do I have to see this moron here? Burger! Burger! Burger for Trump! We got you a nice burger for Trump! God, such a weird... And then someone's already made like a shitty AI generation of it. Wow. What a powerful piece of art. Really speaks to something. I guess I should probably add your party collapse to my thing, because it does not look like it's going well. Do you think that they wouldn't serve Trump spaghetti? Maybe it's not real. I don't know. I've just seen it a lot. It's probably AI generated. Ah, that's depressing. Saw a Trump 2028. Bro, they're deranged people. Trump's just like a figurehead of the fascist movement, realistically. Now I've probably messed up my camera, which I didn't want to do. Yes, I have. Oh, right. That's probably enough Starmer, Keir Starmer. The Granny Harmer wants us mixed up in Israel drama. I don't miss Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden, bro. Fuck all of them. Let's have a, So the Your Party, which is Corbyn's party, has been up to some not good things. I want to clarify the situation regarding the membership of Your Party. Neither of this week's email... So this is coming from Zara Sultana. Sorry for you Americanoids. This is coming from Zara Sultana, who is the one of the co-founders of, or was meant to be, of Your Party. Neither of this week's emails had the dual authorization of both myself and Jeremy, which was the agreement made at the start of the process. After being sidelined by the MPs named in today's statement and effectively frozen out of the official accounts, I took the step of launching a membership portal so that supporters could continue to engage and organise. This was in line with the roadmap set out to members on Monday and is a safe, secure, legitimate party for the portal for the party. Everyone who supports us should sign up now. Oh shit, I probably should have started recording this, but I won't have time to edit it anyway. My sole motivation has been to safeguard the grassroots involvement that is essential to building the party. Unfortunately, I have been subjected to what only can be described as a sexist boys' club. I have been treated appallingly and excluded completely. They have refused to allow any other women with voting rights on the working group, blocking the gender balance committee that both Jeremy and I signed up to. It is also important to be transparent about why this situation has arisen. I do not believe members will accept Katie Murphy and her associates having sole financial control of members' money and sole constitutional control over our conference. This undermines the democratic principles we agreed to uphold. It is also important to be transparent about why this situation... From the outset, we agreed that the MOU Operations Limited, stewarded by Jamie Driscoll, Beth Winter and Andrew Feinstein, would hold and manage funds on behalf of members until the founding conference, at which point they would be transferred to the new entity established democratically. Every penny raised so far has gone to MOU operations, and this continues to be the case within our new membership portal. This, to be clear, is members' money, and our members must decide how it is spent. This arrangement was designed to ensure transparency, accountability, and protection against the concentration of financial control in the hands of any one person. I regret that today's statement has been misrepresented the situation. My actions have been taken as consistent with our shared commitment to build an open, a democratic and member-led organisation. I will continue to fight for a process where members' money, data and voices are safeguarded, not centralised under the control of one individual. I am calling on Jeremy to meet with me and agree to make public all agreed structures, processes and decision-making protocols. Doing this will restore hope for our members and ensure nothing like this can ever happen again. This party is more important than any one person, and we all owe it to the movement to deliver a truly democratic and socialist party. The Democratic Founding Conference of this party will take place in late November. I will keep fighting for a minimum programme for maximum democracy. You have my word. No stitch-ups, no coronations. The members must decide. The boys club thing might be the one thing that makes or breaks if anyone is willing to entertain this further this early too. I've seen some trans people not. It's because of Adnan Hussein, who's been saying some crazy shit. So this is mental from Hamza Yusuf. Been going on for ages. Corbyn would rather align with transphobes, landlords, misogynists. Oh, and he doesn't think you should describe yourself as an anti-Zionist. He's a dinosaur waiting for the asteroid. I'm YouTube featured. What does YouTube featured mean? I have no idea what that means, but it sounds cool. But yeah, I mean... And this is someone's thread. Archie Woodrow, member of RS21 North London branch, Revolutionary Society or something. I don't know what that is. So whoever this guy is. I couldn't tell because I can't see John Cena, bro. Right, let's read it. Seems to be a last-ditch attempt by Zara Sultana's team to prevent her from being excluded and the whole process being definitively taken over by Corbyn's team under Peace and Justice Project Limited. Peace and Justice Project, PJP, led by Pamela Fitzpatrick and factional allies from ex-Lotto, ex-Unite, Collective Networks, e.g. Katie Murphy, Amy Jackson, Gibbons and Sean Halsall, controlled your party mailing list, but MOU Limited, controlled by Feinstein, Driscoll and Winter, now Sultana allies, controlled your party finances and donor information. This was part of a compromise to balance power between two factions. I really wanted this to be good, but my Christ, Zara Sultana and Corbyn have made an absolute mess. I think it might be Corbyn, to be honest. I think it might be Corbyn. So we're talking about how basically there's a new party in the UK, Your Party UK, and it's set up with Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn as the two joint heads. And seemingly there's been a lot of drama emerging, and I've heard previously about someone with insider knowledge about this, that apparently... The reason that this is happening is specifically because of these old heads and the people around Corbyn. I've heard, but that may be coming from someone who leans more towards Zara Sultana. Now, I like Jeremy Corbyn. I think Jeremy Corbyn is a man of principle. I think he's a more recognisable individual than Zara Sultana, which I think is pretty significant, you know, in terms of that. And I think that we kind of have to not ignore that. But at the same time, I think fucking with transphobes is not the best thing to do. I'm not going to lie. It had so much promise. It did, but there's still the Greens. But the Greens have their problems. Shout out to Burgers and Dubai Chocolate Labubu. Reminder to like the stream. An FAB, Creepy Stalker Giardia, and Eat Predators. Set the timers to 1 p.m. PST. Also, just on the topic of Ethan, where's my offer to debate Mr. Klein? I mean, I love Do Not Worry, but I've got a huge TikTok platform. I've got a big Instagram platform. Ethan, do I not exist? My videos on you, they've done pretty well. I was looking at them. Some of them have got millions of views, bro. My one the other day has 350,000 views talking about you, so pretty odd that you don't want to talk to me, isn't it? Oh shit, I forgot to upload the YouTube that I'm live on YouTube on Instagram, so I'm just going to do that now. And thank you for being a member for all this time. 2 whole damn months, sorry. I just typically did that at the wrong time. Oh. But yeah, if Anthony from Do Not Worries, you should make a surprise appearance. I think Ethan will just end it. You are the Dean Withers to his Charlie Kirk. I would rather not be compared to Dean. He won't talk to me. He won't talk to me. Dubai chocolate la boo boo. Anthony wants you to go on with him. Did he say that? I saw him saying that he has his stipulations, which are fair enough. Oh, come on. If Ethan Klein will have to address me. Right. And Winter, now Sultana allies, controlled your party's finances and donor information. This was part of a compromise to balance power between the two factions. I think we're going to see a Death of Stalin style thing where Zara Sultana sets up a list of people who need to be damn whacked, and some of you in this chat are going to be on my list when I get the chance. DXR? So far it's just you, DXR, but you will be whacked. Nice, because you have the encyclopedic knowledge. It's not even about having the encyclopedic knowledge. I think since I debated Lonerbox, I kind of learnt something. From debating Lonerbox, what I learnt is how Lonerbox did it was Lonerbox didn't want to actually talk about anything of substance and gish gallop the whole time. He wanted to talk about the size of a crater and refused to, and then tried to obfuscate around... like a forensic architecture article. But anyway... You know... Can I be on the whack list too? Well, you haven't done much. It's just DXR, like I wake up in the morning and it's just pain from DXR harassing me. Like genuinely, that's not even a joke. I just know how like difficult it is being me. Just know that if you had someone like DXR in your life, you would be creating whacking lists. Ethan can have ChatGPT if he can have me. Sultana's team claim that Sultana and Corbyn agreed to a joint sign-off on all of official Your Party statements. Corbyn's team dispute this and think agreement was for majority decision of the 6 independent MPs. Ooh. Sultana was refusing to sign off on anything until agreement could be reached on a new organising committee to steward the process, rather than 6 MPs having oversight. Sultana's team want joint leadership, but Sultana and her allies are being completely excluded from the project. Interesting. So I guess it's about him taking the position of power. And I think that this is kind of fair enough, you know. I think that this kind of stuff to do with him having total power is not really what you want. But yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate times. One was hoping that it could be quite different, but yeah. DXR will not damn replace me. Sultana's team, email went out on Monday to full Your Party email list announcing conference plans without Sultana's sign-off. Reportedly, Sultana doesn't object to the plans themselves, but to the process and team overseeing it. Sultana's team hear that a membership system is about to be launched, which would send membership fees to PJP, and therefore give PJP control over the new party, data, finances, mailing lists, and membership systems. Your Party is already having problems. Indeed. Corbyn trying to bid for his spot when he steps down at his age. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is Zara Sultana is charismatic and young, and I think that ultimately, if I was Corbyn's age, I feel like, I don't know, I guess power changes you, and I think that there is, by the way, do not discount this. I think there is a genuine plausible chance that if they fix up that something like this gets into power, because I don't think the right will last all that time. I think that there are problems going on for them, but yeah. Darren McGarvey said, Zara's instinct is to go thermonuclear whenever the opportunity presents itself. This mindset is widespread among activist communities. It's one of the many cultural mechanisms by which the far left repeatedly punches itself in the face. Yeah, gulagging DXR is a punch in the face for myself, I'd say. I've lost my most important viewer, DXR, my foil, my love, my muse. Yeah, Ethan doesn't also want it because he doesn't want the smoke. Sultana's team use main Your Party mailing list to launch membership system connected to separate website where all data and finances are being controlled by MOU as they fear it's their last chance to avoid being completely excluded from the process. PJP, Corbyn's constituency office, Your Party, We Demand Change and possibly other orgs with a variety of different staff and volunteers all operate out of the same office, so potentially a lot of people may have been in a position to access that mailing list. 10. Unclear who PJP authorised to access the mailing list, whether they gave people from Sultana's team access, so 100% clear. Yeah, so not 100% clear yet whether or not this is actually a data breach. Not 100%. I corrected it myself. But I think that the whole thing is that if your party is not, like, ultimately just incredibly democratic, it's kind of like, what's really the point? We need major reform in the democratic system, and I think fucking up like this already is bad fucking news. This thread makes it clear that Corbyn is willing to sacrifice the best chance we have at a mass party of the left in order to maintain his relationship with a tiny handful of people who are not left-wing at all and shouldn't be anywhere near this party. It's unforgivable. People are saying Zara jumped the gun, but she's the one that fired it. If it wasn't for her, absolutely none of this would be happening. If people are trying to sideline her in favour of transphobes and landlords, then she is absolutely right not to let them. They still have a chance to write this, but it's a bad look for them to be split like this already. Yeah, and it does make it look like that many of the reports about the splits and the rifts very early on. Some of the splits very early on were... Some of the splits were very early on. Yeah. DXR is a counter-revolutionary loaner box plant. He's an instigator. He's a troublemaker. He might be CIA. I don't know. Sorry, just this is not your party, but I thought it was worth listening to.
Finally, if I may, the elephant in the room, Lord Mandelson, he is no longer the ambassador. Do you have some sympathy with him that he lost his job over historic links to Jeffrey Epstein? Thank you very much, sir.
I don't know him, actually. I had heard that, and I think maybe the Prime Minister would be better speaking of that. That was a choice that he
Keir Starmer looks incensed.
made, and I don't know.
He doesn't... Look at his face! Look at his face! He's gobsmacked.
Oh, what is your answer to that?
Well, I mean, it's very straightforward. Some information came to light last week which wasn't available when he was appointed, and I made a decision.
You know what's crazy? Keir Starmer, in his statement about Mandelson, was like, "This is against everything I have done with for younger girls, for protecting girls." And it's like, hey, bro, why are you here with Professor Paedophile Donald Trump?
About it, and that's very clear. On the question of the pressure on Putin and...
And finally, if I may...
Oh, and then he just gish gallops away. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. But not surprising, to be honest. Oh, there we go. Yeah, not surprising. I mean, he's a fucking fan of Epstein. Like, he's a fan of Epstein, or was once a friend of Epstein. They fell out, though. Professor Paedophile. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Charlie says that whacklist is weird. Okay, human condition. I've got another name for the whacklist. Well, what? The server is starting a revolution against you. There's not going to be no revolution. You're all just getting whacked if you rise up. And it'll just be me and the youths. Wait, actually, we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, I mean, it's not the best of news. No, we haven't covered the doc yet. The doc is coming. Don't you worry. We've just been covering like this stuff because it's kind of the Your Party stuff is pretty big. Oh yeah, and there's one other thing I wanted to finish on. Sorry, I'm kicking my feet together right now. Is there a video of
Zara Sultana?
Sorry, I'm looking up anti-Zionism. Do Not Worry podcast. Wait, is Do Not Worry podcast? Love you, Chris Kanzler. Love you, chat. I'm risking it all. Wait, did Do Not Worry comment? Are they here? I had a friend in Khan Yunis. She's dead from a missile to her tent. I'm so sorry to hear. It's awful news. It's horrifying news. So I don't know who this guy is, but
a lot of people have said to me, ask Sarah about the position on Zionism of
oh, that's Matt Kennard, isn't it?
The new party. But there's two sides to that. One is, what's your position on Zionism, and what do you think the new party's position should be on Zionism?
Thank you. So one of the things we have to be honest about was some of the mistakes that were made under the Corbyn period, and adopting the IHRA was a mistake. Conflating anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism was a mistake, so much so that one of the lead authors, Kenneth Stern, has criticised it and
let me see if I can. Oh yeah, you can.
Criticised organisations and anyone who decides to adopt this policy.
Why not call it the Gulag list? Because people on it are getting whacked. They're not just going to a Gulag. Like what 3 names.
I am an anti-Zionist. I always.
Yeah, I mean, pretty based. Is this too loud for you guys?
I always have been. Anyone who visits the occupied West Bank, anyone who sees the genocide happening in Gaza, anyone who learns about the Nakba, anyone who understands what settler colonialism is, will find themselves also identifying as an anti-Zionist. And the political climate in our country, with the media class as well as the political class who had tried to destroy the Palestinian solidarity movement, were very happy conflating the two. Anti-Semitism is a very serious issue. Like all forms of discrimination, we have to root it out. It's societal. Anti-Jewish discrimination, anti-Semitism is something that all of us on the left have to actively, root out. But that's not what we're talking about here when we criticise the Israeli government, when we say that they are war criminals.
This might be a point where I find, her speech and her thing much better than how bad Empanada speaks on this. Because whilst I do, think in the context of, you're saying about Palestine, this is not what we're talking about. Maybe don't go, anti-Semitism just doesn't exist, because, people can be anti-Semitic, and people do build careers out of being anti-Semitic. Yes, it's not the same in the sense of, institutional anti-Semitism is not a vote winner in the same way that Islamophobia is. And Islamophobia has largely come on to actually take the role that anti-Semitism once had. Because once upon a time, being anti-Semitic would win you, would win you lots of votes. But yeah, I just think why be there? And I just think and I understand of talking about what anti-Semitism exists as in the context of Israel, that most people who talk about Israel and talk about anti-Semitism don't actually care about anti-Semitism. Ethan Klein doesn't give one iota about anti-Semitism. It is a stick to beat the left with. But still being yeah. And I think people like Sam Cedar or Hassan do that better.
That they are guilty of apartheid, that they are conducting a settler colonialism. All of these things are factual. And it's not just my opinion. The UN has countless resolutions. The ICJ has countless advisory positions. This is a government on trial for genocide at the ICJ. Its leaders have ICC arrest warrants issued against their name. So this isn't a controversial position, but the smears that took place, the attacks on many people, inevitably have led to a place where people weren't comfortable or confident in saying that they're anti-Zionist. And I'm glad that we are in a place that we can, but it shouldn't have happened this way. There should have been robust challenge when the political establishment, the media establishment came, in opposition, were in opposition and attacked the Corbyn project. There should have been more robust challenge to that. And we have to learn those lessons. We have to fight back and not give these fuckers an inch. That's what we have to.
Yo, she swore. I'm voting for her because I like swearing. How do you respond when people say, as an anti-Zionist, and then... How do you respond when people around you are so casually Islamophobic and they say stuff like it's nothing? I mean, I just react and just say that's just not true, is it? Like, just and try and challenge them on the belief that they hold the same with, like, transphobia or something. F Israel and anti-Semitism. Indeed. And I just don't think there's a reason to act as if, like, you know, anti-Semitism is a totally inconsequential thing. But at the same time, I do understand and appreciate why we shouldn't be just, like, giving it so much weight when it comes to, like, Palestine discussions. I'll see if I can find Corbyn. I'm trying to find his statement on anti-Zionism, but I'm not actually sure if I'll be able to find it. Oh, fuck. Why is this stuff so hard to find? I hadn't really pre-planned this. But, oh, here it is. It's a Middle East Eye interview. Here we go.
Zara Sultana did a recent interview where she said that the Labour Party, under your leadership, was wrong to have adopted the controversial IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. And she said the smears won't work anymore and that she's proudly an anti-Zionist. What do you think about all that?
Well, I think it wasn't really necessary for her to bring all that up in the interview, but that's what she decided to do. The party did adopt the IHRA definition. Personally, I was more in favour of the Jerusalem Declaration, which is simply saying that anti-Semitism is wrong. It is.
That the Jerusalem Declaration is the one supported by, like, Ilan Pappé and stuff. But Ilan Pappé supports it, I know.
Wrong to be anti-Semitic, and it's perfectly possible to discuss the politics and behaviour of the State of Israel without being anti-Semitic. People do that all the time. Indeed, many people in Israel do that all the time. And so our party will have a resolutely anti-racist position, and I'm looking to put some kind of general declaration of respect for all communities, all ethnicities, all languages, all faiths, and no faiths. And
I wonder what his opinion would be of DXR and whether he thinks DXR should be gulagged, but I'm just putting that out there. And do I think Antonio Gramsci went too far when he said Sardinians are people? I didn't know he said that, but I won't be listening to him anymore. After that, I probably would. I went to his grave, but if I went again, I'd just do away with it.
So it'll be a general anti-racist position. I was under a great deal of pressure to adopt the IHRA. That happened.
I think he should have just stood more unequivocally on business and said, nah, no IHRA, 100, 100, 100.
The majority of the National Executive, a huge majority, including people who are very close to me, wanted it adopted. And
that's probably an indication that anyone who was close with you at that time should not be around you now. Like, I'm not going to lie, I like Corbyn and all, but I think Mélenchon has something more to him. And I say this because because of this.
Non mais, je rêve. Il sait même pas essuyer les pieds, monte sur ma table. Retourne chez Macron. Non mais attends, je rêve. Fous le camp. Non mais, non mais, je rêve. Il sait même pas essuyer.
If Keir Starmer, if Jeremy Corbyn was doing things like this, and Keir Starmer, they would be doing a lot better in the damn polls. That's all I'm saying. Because you're telling me that this is not vote winning? That this is not cool and sick stuff? I genuinely don't know what to say to you, because that is awesome.
Duly done, and then later the examples were also adopted, which I personally had the greatest concerns about, because I think a definition that requires examples to give it life and legs shows to me there's something badly wrong with the definition in the first place.
Yeah, I just think if I was him, I would have said, look, I don't have a problem with her calling herself an anti-Zionist. I agree with anti-Zionism. I'm actually thinking I might be able to get a video out pretty soon, maybe even by Monday. Well, it has to be out by Monday, about Ethan Klein and Hannah Einbinder. I think you'll enjoy it. It's called like Ethan Klein versus Einbinder. Why is Charizard dancing to Dami Tokosita? I'm not sure. He likes it. Charizard busting a move. God damn he is. Isn't the IHRA definition also just like poorly phrased? No, the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism is crazy. You're not allowed to compare Israel to the Nazis, which is like, why does that need to be there? Just look at it. Adopt the following non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and their property toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Wait, is that the full definition? Because that's definitely not it. Contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in the public life. These are the examples. So this is what he's talking about. Calling for or aiding or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of a radical ideology or an extremist religious view. Fine. Making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing or stereotypical allegations against Jews, such as such, or the power of the Jews as a collective, such as especially but not including the myth about Jewish conspiracy. Okay, fine. Accusing Jews as a people of being responsible for real imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Jewish person or group or even act. Fine. Accusing Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Of course, that's anti-Semitic. Denying the fact or scope/mechanisms. Well, it's just genocide denialism, really. So, The funny thing is that like most people would consider that doing this about Palestinians, about the Nakba, an expression of genocide, is nowhere near on the same level. And I would say in a sense that this contributes to exceptionalizing the Holocaust, because I think it should just be an unequivocal saying that you should not deny any genocide, whether that is the Armenian genocide, the Rwandan genocide. You can deny what I'm about to do in the Discord, though, all of you, to DXR. It won't be genocide, it will just be the removal of DXR permanently. But you can deny that in the Discord. That's one of the key rules. To anyone. The irony of this hyperspecificity is it's affirming anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like Netanyahu going out and being like, we did not kill Charlie Kirk. It's like, ugh. To be fair, like, it's stupid to do, but, like, at the same time, like, it's just obvious that I just can't buy the conspiracy theories that everyone had turned against, that he was going to turn against Israel, you know. DXR is certainly not protected. He's not protected from what I'm about to do. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide, to their interest in it's really interesting that these are like, you have to have these examples rather than being able to interpret these. Denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination, e.g. by claiming that the existence of Israel is a racist endeavour. This is really, really where it gets insane. Applying double standards by requiring of it a behaviour not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. Bro, I just expect Israel not to do apartheid and genocide, but, you know, we needed this definition. Drawing comparisons between contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis. Bro, Ethan Klein falls under this definition so well. Holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the State of Israel. Yeah, I mean, universities in the UK were technically meant to adopt it, and I think if we get a Farage takeover, every university will be forced to adopt this. Should social conservatives be unwelcome in your party, like Sultana said? I think if you want a genuinely democratic and popular party that is based on not targeting anyone, that moves towards removing transphobia and all of these things, then I think you have to say that you can't just allow more transphobia to run in the party. Because if you're like unequivocally on, I think also this wishy-washy shit is the issue on topics like Palestine. And I think if you're going to allow shit like that on transphobia, if you're going to allow it on things like people being hugely exploitative landlords, like, look, if someone has like one fucking property and they're renting out and they're like an MP, and like, okay, fine, but if it's someone who's like, you know, like a genuine landlord, it's like a huge landlord and that's their entire business, I think, yeah, I think it's I think it's like, yeah. And I think also one of the major problems of the Labour Party is you've allowed so much social conservatism to take over there and to kind of encourage it. So, yeah. Is Jeffree Star in his grifter era on Piers Morgan? Bro, I don't know shit about Jeffree Star, really. Don't cry, Chris. Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking about what's happening to poor DXR. Even if the policies do mirror those of the Nazis. Well, I think the definition plays into a pathetic understanding of Nazism as just a specific evil. Like, that Nazism is just like an evil that is like different from everything else, rather than an expression of right-wing politics. Because it's like when they were all crying about anti-Semitism earlier. Anti-Semitism. When they were all crying about calling Charlie Kirk a fucking Nazi, and calling Charlie Kirk a fascist, or calling Trump, and all of these things. But it's just a matter of fact, the contemporary Republican Party and the politics of Charlie Kirk align extremely closely with the extremist, racist ideologies that were expressed by the Nazis. I'm sorry, you can't tell me otherwise. Like, I'm sorry, like, please just try and tell me about how that's different. Like, tell me what the Nazis believed. Tell me what the Nazis argued about Jewish people and what they claimed about what Jewish people did to their society. And tell me how Charlie Kirk's views about black people, gay people, trans people, all of these people have anything that is different from Nazism, aside from... And actually, there is a uniqueness amongst Nazism from this, which is like, Nazism believed that, like, Aryans, and this is kind of why they liked Germany, because they saw lots of America, because they saw why they kind of liked Germany, why they liked America, because in the context of America, they were like, oh, the German race is doing good shit in America, you know, look how well the German race is doing there. But I think that the truth is that all these people who go, Nazism is thrown around so much, we are at a point where Donald Trump, like, I think previously calling Trump a fascist was always accurate, and I think that has been increasingly happening. But I think that one of the things I feel right now, and this relates to Jimmy Kimmel, and I'll talk about it more. Jimmy Kimmel, and this feels insane to say, because it's not like Jimmy Kimmel is like this amazing left-wing voice. He's not at all. But the deposition of Jimmy Kimmel, copied with some other stuff that we're going to go over in the document, shout out to Tony Soprano lover, is a full capture of media, and increase in the previous, when the Nazis came to power, Capital largely collaborated. Capital was largely fine with when the Nazis came to power. when Trump was last in power and engaged in his most fascist action, which was, you know, engaging in domestic terrorism and an attempt at a coup, a seizure of power through the January 6th riots supported by his supporters, the Washington Post wrote an editorial saying Trump must leave. Trump is now capturing almost the entirety of the media in America. They're setting up Barry Weiss as a key player to do all of this, to basically take it all over. And they are getting rid of anyone who criticizes Trump. They are setting it up for genuinely just a fascist dictatorship. And the level of political violence going on, their glorification of war and violence against leftists, is a marker of where you are headed. And I was reading something earlier by Jan Werner Muller of What Makes a Fascist, which is, Jan Werner Muller's a pretty good scholar. His book, Contesting Democracy, is really good and really readable, actually. I'd highly recommend that. He might be a bit of a lib, but yeah, just read this. It is a failure of political judgment to conflate today's far right and fascism, but it is imperative to watch closely how the far right develops over time. A shift to fascism, represented by open commitments to authoritarianism and the glorification of violence, could happen fast, but it might also happen quite slowly. In any case, the conduct of traditional elites is a key factor to watch. That is one of the least understood lessons of the rise of Mussolini's fascism in 20th century Italy. You are seeing the collaboration of elites. You are seeing the collaboration of elites with Donald Trump right now. If Israelis don't want to be accused of being like the Nazis, they simply need to stop behaving like the Nazis. 100%, bro. 100%. Ain't he still in the UK too? Yeah, Trump is a wannabe fascist dictator, and I think the thing working against Trump is that he's very old, but at the same time, the people around him are clearly wanting and know what they want. No, Jan Werner Muller wrote this in 2022 or 2021, and makes it really hard to listen to whilst I'm doing anything else, playing games or working perhaps. Well, I'm sorry about that. We seem to have problems with the audio constantly. It's a problem with my voice. I'll try and turn it down a little bit. But yesterday, the problem was I had it at a good volume and then I kind of got it messed up yesterday. So it should be slightly better now. I don't know. Is it too quiet now? But I'll go live. From, I think, the BBC. I had it at a good volume and then I kind of got it messed up yesterday. So it should be slightly better now. I don't know. Is it too quiet? Now you're going to hear that. Now I've gone too loud. I'm really sorry. Also, I cannot wait. I need this new fucking PC, man. I need this new PC so badly. Ugh. The transphobe gays always remind me that there was a homosexual Nazi alliances. And spoke about hating trans people. And the media is so goddamn slow to recognise it. The amount of spineless posturing in the media is 100% contributed. Yeah, and I think that honestly, like, when you previously called Trump a fascist, Trump wanted to be a fascist. Trump really did, but he didn't have the ability to do it. Now, you are just seeing full hand in glove by with Israel. There's an extension that allows you to independently boost browser volume on site-by-site basis. Okay, right. Okay, I'll have a look into that. But I'm going to Canada, so F you. Yeah, I'm sorry. My voice is just also really, really loud. Like, it's not an exaggeration. And I don't even mean to raise it, but I think when it raises slightly, you just hear it because of how loud it is. Keep changing my volume every time Chris switches between videos. Yeah, I'll get the browser update thing because I can tell when they're quiet. But yeah, right. Now let's cover... Sorry, there is actually something I wanted to watch just quickly. We've got the Israeli Prime Minister. Sorry, I just want to stop recording. I just want to rename this. Wow. Here we have the Israeli left and the person potentially leading in Israel.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. If you were in power now, would you also, like Netanyahu, be dismissing this as anti-Semitic, or would you be engaging with eminent international scholars and lawyers and countries and trying to temper or looking at tempering your behavior and language?
Well, I read every page of this 72-page report, talked to international experts, and I have to say, it's unbelievable. This report only shows one side and it forgets the whole context.
It's so funny that down from the sloppiest TikToker up to the highest levels of Israel, which I've said multiple times before, it's all the same shit. All the same shit.
Forgets that we were attacked and Hamas murdered 1,200 Israelis. It doesn't mention that. Does that make sense? It doesn't mention that Hamas is hiding within hospitals, within mosques, within schools. So when we shoot at a location that Hamas took over, if you forget that or if you omit that deliberately, it totally skews everything. I have to say, this is a sloppy and slanted report. That's just the fact.
Well, didn't you...
That's just the fact. Thank you, Naftali. You are my best friend.
Just hear what Navi Pillay said. She said on October the 10th, 2023, they came out and said Hamas had committed war crimes. They didn't need to say it in this report. They've already said it.
By the way, Krishnan Guru Murphy doesn't actually think that they're committing genocide.
No, but I'll give you an example. On page 49, they talk about Israel attacking a hospital. But that attack on the hospital was because Muhammad Sinwar, the architect of this massacre in the war, was hiding there. And
see, even this is not proved by Israel's evidence that he was hiding under the hospital. It's not proved at all. What they showed was a tunnel that, yes, ran under the hospital, but it is not the command center or any of these things as Israel is claiming.
Fighting there. So is that not sloppy? Any reasonable and decent viewer of this show right now would say, whoa, that doesn't make sense. It's as if you're walking on the street, you're being attacked by someone who's trying to stab you to death, you shoot him, and then she comes in and says, oh, you shot that guy, but forgets to tell everyone that they were trying to stab you to death. That's ridiculous.
So you are as in denial about what the experts have found, what the judges have found, what the international scholars have found as the Prime Minister. I mean, what is the difference between you and Benjamin Netanyahu when you have been criticising his government for turning Israel into an international pariah?
I think that there's a lot of debate domestically. I think the government is a lousy, incompetent government. But I'm defending my country now, and I'm defending the acts of the IDF, and I can say unequivocally that a country that lets...
Wait, let's actually look and see what he said. He said on page 48...
$2 million tons.
Hold on. Let me just double check this. 1 second. Page 49, right.
Food.
Almost every building in Gaza is rubble now. Does he seriously believe Hamas was hiding in every building? And also, it's just like... when you are unwilling to confront the way in which, like, the Israeli government has so clearly enunciated, we are destroying everything in Gaza, we are doing all of these things. Like, why would I listen to this crap? Why would I think that this crap is in any way, like, amazingly meaningful or changes anything about what I'm hearing? But let's check. He says page 49. Where does it say this? It doesn't say what he's saying. In July 2025, it was reported that the provision of reproductive healthcare services had increased, with 13 hospitals and 4 field hospitals providing maternity care. What does it say? In parallel, several maternity wards in other... What he says on page 48.
Food, 1.6 million actually of food, and another 400,000 of other resources which is enough for 2 years. That is not genocide. And when you send leaflets and text messages...
Oh, just Jesus Christ. These people are saying there's now food for 2 years.
There's millions of text messages before we attack a Hamas base in a building. That's war. And in fact, a more humane conduct than anyone that's done it. Even your own country, the UK and Iraq had a 3-to-1 ratio in the Iraqi war, meaning 3 civilians were killed for every militant.
I mean,
with Israel, it's 1-to-1.
These are all old arguments,
So
Mr. Bennett. You're
not
not
arguments,
engaging
it's facts.
with the facts in this
fact.
report. That this report.
There's only one mention of the European hospital. The Obsectarian also spoke out about that. That's the only mention of the European hospital where he was killed. Or where he was nearby. I don't know what he's talking about. It doesn't look like what he says is true at all. I'm just checking.
Report goes through in detail the actions of the IDF, why they are genocidal, the words of the Prime Minister and the President and the former Defence Minister. You're not engaging on the substance, you're just trotting out all the old defence lines that the Israeli government has done for 2 years.
Did you not listen to me over the past 2 minutes? I was referring to specific pages, to the specific report. I read, unlike you, every one of the 72 pages.
He said page 49.
Pages. So I'm telling you,
that's the same thing that they said at the time about that hospital attack.
But it's true.
The point is,
was
even
there.
if you're targeting
I don't
Hamas,
understand.
that doesn't give you carte blanche to attack anybody.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we are attacking Hamas facilities. Now, the fact is that Hamas has turned almost every other home, hospital, school in the Gaza Strip into...
He's so weird looking.
A terror base. This is unprecedented. This never happened in the history of war. And so they hold responsibility. Now, let me ask you, how can an entire report about a war between Israel and Hamas that was instigated by Hamas not mention Hamas? Doesn't that sound a bit
because
strange?
It's not a report into Hamas. She explained that in her interview.
Come on,
this is just stupid. No, I'm not airing you.
It's an investigation into allegations of war crimes.
This is like a TikTok debater. This is pathetic. This is so pathetic. This is Israel's potential next prime minister, just justifying everything done in Gaza. And these are the people who Israel will vote for and get into power
by the Israeli forces. That's what this report is about. Anyway, I mean, it's clear. It's clear that your position is the same as the government.
He's Agent 47. If Agent 47's only mission was killing babies.
On this.
No, my position is of an Israeli patriot who's looking at the facts as they are. And when you're talking about a two-way war, and then you just totally ignore what the other side does, and you don't talk about them hiding in hospitals, which is a fact.
But it's not a fact. It is not a fact. It is disputed by almost every single person who is actually in Gaza, who does this kind of stuff. It doesn't even align or make sense with what you are trying to claim.
Don't talk about them using human shields, which is a fact. That's just...
These are the ones using human shields. Israel has never ever been able to prove this human shield stuff.
Sloppy and slanted work. You can't deny that, surely.
That's just whataboutery, isn't it?
You know, also, Lonerbox, as I said, Lonerbox believes that as well. Lonerbox believes that the reason for the level of the destruction is because of Palestinians turning everything into military bases, because Hamas has booby-trapped everything.
I mean, you're not engaged...
And not because, which all reports indicate, that there are extremist, ideologically motivated settlers who have gone into Gaza and have committed ethnic cleansing there. Because that's what they want to do.
With the behaviour of your own forces.
He's saying sloppy because he's got Keir Starmer on his mind and what Keir Starmer's been doing to Trump's dick.
Now let's go on to next week. Britain, France, Canada, Australia and Belgium are all going to recognise a Palestinian state.
There are photos of the IOF and there are no photos of Hamas holding a Palestinian up as human shields. Like, and by the way, this would justify bombing all of Israel. You all saw when Iran targeted it. Iran launched them at civilian areas, but what was in those damn civilian areas?
You have this report. You have the General Assembly resolution calling for a two-state solution. Are you not taking any of this as a sign that the rest of the world doesn't agree with you anymore?
Oh no, I'm very cognizant of that, and I have my own criticism on the war. I think this war should have ended 3 months into the war. We could have done a much quicker job. As I said, Israel's a democracy. I think the current government...
God, it is... These people just slop. Israel is a democracy. What does that mean in this context? Nazi Germany was nominally a democracy at first.
It needs to be replaced. But in terms of our international position, look, it's tough. But I'd rather have my children live and be unpopular than have them killed and be beloved in the world.
God, basically just a tacit justification for Palestinians being exterminated there and saying, you may be loved, but we will kill you. We invented the cherry tomato. But yeah. Sorry, I just got recommended when I was searching up, all of this stuff. I just got recommended this channel. The Labour MP who went to Soros-funded training. Speaking my truth latest, I've decided to become a left-wing activist. Zoe Gardner's Stop Trump campaign and its links to Pelican House, Corbynista HQ. The Labour MP who blocked me on X but thinks she should be deputy leader. Who is this? AirPods was us. Ethnic cleansing's us. Uzi's us. Oh, but yeah, I mean, goodness me. Like, just listening to these people talk about it. But by the way, today's been a pretty fucking bad day for Israel and its military. So, 4 Israeli soldiers got killed in Rafah, which is now being confirmed. So this photo emerged earlier of like an Israeli Jeep getting picked up that was like completely destroyed. And apparently it came from a roadside bomb which killed 4 Israeli soldiers who I just had the eulogies of. Which I'm not going to read the whole thing. Also, I'm really hungry right now. Crazy hungry, actually. Don't know what is going on with my tummy. I need my food. Aitan was one of the 4 officers killed today in a Hummer Jeep explosion. They got the Hummer! They got the Hummer. But this is not the purpose. He's just talking about this. This is about Aitan, and he's just sharing it. Aitan grew up in a family with values and Zionism, a son of the Torah, a firm believer in the idea of settlement in the Promised Land, a fighter in the front lines, loyal, and naturally, he and his wife chose to build their home in Har Bracha settlement. At their wedding, they held a special tribute for their fallen friends. For the fallen and friends. The heart breaks for his youth, and for the family that was supposed to flourish here in Samaria. But it will not be ours. Dear Atara, a daughter of a distinguished family in the Har Bracha settlement, who grew up here and brought him here to Samaria, the West Bank, and now he must accompany him on his final mission. Bro, am I supposed to care about this? Zionist son of the Torah, believer in the idea of settlement in the Promised Land from the Nile to the Euphrates, a fighter living in an illegal settlement in the West Bank. His family is the one that brought him to settle there. With these people, the Arabs want peace, and why when a Palestinian is religious, believes in liberation, resists, and wants to return to their homeland, are they considered a terrorist? And the greater tragedy is that some Arab countries demand changes to the Palestinian curriculum to make it more peaceful. And here are the photos of the Israeli soldiers that got smoked. Sorry, I should probably, if I was in Trump's America and I didn't do my daily condemnation of October the 7th, I didn't do my daily crying about Charlie Kirk's death, I'd be in prison, I think. But, yeah. Burger. Do British people know about burgers? I've had a burger. The IRA used road patrol so effectively the British had to basically travel on only helicopters. Unfortunately, if the British were now doing it, they'd have access to the equipment that Israelis do, and they wouldn't be so threatened by them, unfortunately. But now colonial powers, unfortunately, have ways to deal with these kind of things. But still, still people getting smoked. I'm not sitting here and feeling sympathy for this at all. I don't have sympathy for Israeli soldiers. They were trying to massacre and murder and steal Palestinians' land, and that person's eulogy makes it so clear that's what he wanted. And there was also a shooting today at the Allenby Bridge, which I wonder if we can find anything about. If there's like any videos. Allenby Bridge. I just googled Allenby Bridge, and now I'm just looking at videos of people. Jordanian Arabs cross into Israel. This is an interesting video. Really interesting video, actually. Look at this. So different back then. Man makes a huge statement. I know this is really off topic, but just looking at this now. Like, the world that existed then is just gone. It's like when I watch my favourite AI slot videos and it's like, do you remember back in the 90s, chippies cost £5? Burgers and Dubai chocolate labubus. You already got me to say it. Also, did someone donate and I didn't read it? I need to check that. No, they didn't. Palestinians leave and flee. Maybe we'd watch that. But yeah, basically, I guess we're just going to have to look this up then. And there's no one else doing it for us. God, all of the outlets are reporting, like, and I've heard that it was 2 Israeli soldiers. So I'm not sure if anything has changed since then. But 2 shot dead in attack near West Bank Jordan crossing, Israeli military says. 2 people have been shot dead between the occupied West Bank and Jordan. So this is one of the only crossings that between it's the only crossing between the West Bank and the rest of the world. So Palestinians tend to go through this if they're leaving. It's hard to get in if you're a Palestinian. Been to the US, Chris? I've not been to the US since I was very young, so I don't really remember anything. The Israeli military said a terrorist arrived in a truck transporting humanitarian aid from Jordan and opened fire MDA, Magen David Adom, so 2 Israeli men apparently. The attacker was killed by the security forces at the scene, the military said. The attack was praised by Palestinian armed group Hamas, which Israel is fighting in Gaza, as a response to the daily crimes and massacres committed by the Israeli occupation against our people. Palestinian people, imagine if you did this for what Israel did. You know? Imagine if you had this for every single time Israeli government officials celebrated the killing of a Palestinian. It would literally just be this long, every single one. What's your favourite potato? Have I been to North Korea? Yeah, I've been to North Korea. I'd be going to North Korea. I went ham in North Korea. That's what I'm saying. The incident comes 1 year after Israeli men were shot dead. After 3 Israeli men were shot dead in the same place by an attacker who the Israeli military identified as a Jordanian truck driver. This, by the way, is an indication of worrying times for Israel in the Middle East and worrying times for dictatorships in the Middle East, because most Jordanians will think this guy's a hero, and I know it's happened before, but with the temperature rising, but like just in terms of like a shooting and this kind of stuff, it's just an increasingly untenable situation where most Jordanians support this, and the government is like, we hate Israel. Oh, and of course it's written by Rafi Berg. It's written by fucking Rafi Berg. I know that most of you from the UK know this guy. He's the chief editor. He's like the online editor of the Middle East online section of the BBC, one of the most visited news websites in the entire world. And he's just like a Netanyahu fanboy. Like, that's what he is. Trump is going to build another ballroom for them, and we need another ballroom for the poor Israeli boys, for the beautiful Israeli troops. The Allenby Bridge, also known as the King Hussein Bridge, lies about halfway between Amman and Al-Quds. We only say Al-Quds here, and is the only official crossing point between the West Bank and Jordan. I said that. It is also the only entry point to the West Bank that does not go through Israel. Also said that. Jordan and Israel maintain security, trade, and diplomatic ties through Jordan. Though Jordan is a vocal critic of Israel's actions towards Palestinians. It's so funny. Like, this article just kind of, even Rafi Berg can't hide it. Jordan and Israel maintain security, trade, and diplomatic ties, though Jordan is a vocal critic of Israel. Who cares if they're a vocal critic, bro? Jordan's not going to get boomed. Jordan is paramount to Israel and what it does. Jordan has been one of the longest standing allies of Israel. But it's not saying whether they're soldiers or not. Like, it's all just saying Israelis. Like, are they soldiers or not? Maybe it's a different story, but it's a bloody day for Israel. 6 killed. Hey Chris, hello Usman Adnan. Allegedly it was 2 Israeli settlers. I assume Ethan Klein will be announcing his wholehearted support of that today, because, you know, he said settlers are valid targets, so, you know, I assume that we'll be getting a full-throated, yes, come on, sue, from Ethan Klein, possibly. But yeah, I mean, let's just have a look what they're saying. Sorry, this is quite like a wonderful open. If it's not saying they're soldiers, then chances are they were settlers. I mean, quite possibly. Quds News says settlers. They are not, according to AHA agency. Okay, people were saying they were soldiers earlier, but even if they're settlers, Ethan Klein, I need your support on this, please, sir. Mr. Damned Klein. Okay, here's Al Jazeera's up. Oh my god. The day that this PC is ready, you can see me dance on stream, because why am I sat here trying to move over this for so long? If you answered 25 questions correctly on this quiz, Your IQ is over 140. Full-throated. Is he in the IOF cum squad? Oh, yes. Who isn't? Valid targets unless they're two beautiful boys. Jordan's foreign ministry says it has launched an investigation into the shooting attack on the Israeli side of the King Hussein Allenby Bridge earlier today, calling the incident a violation of law that threatens Jordan's humanitarian efforts to Gaza. Really? Is that so? In a statement, the ministry reaffirmed Jordan's condemnation. Wow, thank you, Jordan. Condemnation and its commitment to ensuring the safe return of drivers who crossed the bridge today to deliver aid. Authorities confirmed that 22 Jordanian aid trucks crossed into Gaza earlier today, part of more than 8,600 trucks sent since the start of Israel's war on the enclave. The ministry named the driver accused of carrying out the attacks as a 50-year-old Abad al-Mutlaib al-Qaisi, a civilian who had been working as an aid driver for the past 3 months. Jordan renewed its calls for an immediate end to Israel's assault on Gaza. Israel may be looking to pile on pressure with wave of attacks. Israeli army says true. It's not saying who was shot in many of these articles. Where did you say you found that out? That who was shot? As a young lad before my anti-Zionism days, they took us to the West Bank settlement to stay on a birthright. Thinking back, that was so fucking insane. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that most things called an Israeli charity are crazy. I will say that. Like the Jewish National Fund is a charity. So many things are considered charity. But like, they just should not be a charity at all. Will you start streaming video games? Maybe I'll do it as like a members only thing. I was thinking about that because I don't want to just stream gaming, but I might stream members only, or maybe I'll just do a gaming stream once a week and just play something I'm playing anyway. I've been playing Batman Arkham Knight recently. I doubt many people would watch that, but a gunman opened fire. Allenby Bridge, why did you post a death emoji? I wasn't even aware we were in the West Bank, dog. It's crazy. I mean, that is crazy that they didn't even tell you. They probably told you it was... Actually, they would probably... It depends when you were young. They might not have even told you it was called Judea. A gunman opened fire near a sensitive border crossing between Jordan and the Israeli-occupied West Bank on Thursday, killing at least 2 men, according to the Magen David Adom, Israel's national emergency. The Israeli military said the shooter had crossed the border in a truck transporting humanitarian aid. In a statement, they stopped the attacker. It was not immediately clear whether the shooter had been wounded or killed. I think it's the British Mandatory General, Allenby. Yeah, how did he get a weapon through the crossing? That is unbelievable stuff, how he's managed to do that. Right. Right, so there were, I guess, some other Palestine stuff as we'll cover a little bit of stuff here with. This was the event in the UK last night on Palestine, the Together for Palestine event. And no, I've not tried Deadlock. It's actually really hard to hear this, so maybe we won't do that one. I can't. You guys will not be able to hear that because my volume's at max almost. And yeah, I mean, I can't hear it. At least Charlie knows how a Palestinian... God. Have you been to the crossings? You've not been to the crossings. Let's see if we can hear Florence Pugh in hers.
Yeah, thank you for
Actually, the audio on all of these is a bit shitty, so I won't actually listen to them. God, we will listen to this, though. Find out what Fox has to say about Mahmoud Khalil.
Next story we've been
Okay, we'll look at that in a second.
following since his arrest by ICE agents on March 8th. We have an update. An immigration judge is ordering the deportation of former Columbia graduate student Mahmoud Khalil.
All right, lawyers for the pro-Palestinian protesters say they will appeal this decision, but it seems like a real possibility. Good day's Haley Fixler. She's here now with all these details. Haley, what's going on?
Good morning, Dan.
I like how they highlighted him in that picture and chose photos where he's like clearly trying to, where he's in situations where someone's shouting at him.
Well, these court documents were just filed yesterday. The federal immigration judge says that Khalil hid information on his U.S. green card application, and she's ordering him to be sent back to Algeria or Syria. So let's break this all down. The Louisiana judge says that Khalil did not disclose his internship with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Now, the U.S. had suspended funding to that organization because of allegations that staff were involved with Hamas in the October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel. The judge also says Khalil failed to mention his relationship with an anti-Israel campus group called the Columbia University Apartheid Divest. Now,
Wow, an anti-Israel group that is talking about getting rid of apartheid. How radical.
Judge wrote, quote, "The court finds the respondent's lack of candor and purposeful failure to disclose complete information to be significant negative factors." Adding, quote, "The court finds that the respondent willfully misrepresented material facts."
Because he did a thing with UNRWA. Didn't he work at the UK? He worked with like the UK government. No, he had like an internship there. Yeah, Mahmoud Khalil was was respected British government employee. Yeah, I mean, he missed the child. He's now got to go to Algeria or Syria to live under Ahmed al-Shara. Yeah, sounds like a great idea. Deport him to your new best friends over former Al-Qaeda.
For the sole purpose of circumventing the immigration process and reducing the likelihood his application would be denied. Now, again, this all started on March 8th when ICE arrested the 30-year-old at his Columbia University.
How many millions of dollars have been spent on chasing this guy? 100%. What a waste of money and time.
Apartment. The Palestinian who was born in Syria was arrested after leading the pro-Palestinian protests on campus. Federal officials have accused him of siding with terrorists and have called him a national security threat. And there was
really seems like a national security threat.
Been a lot of back and forth since then. In June, a Biden-appointed judge blocked Khalil's initial deportation orders and ordered for his release from a detention center in Louisiana. Of course, this new order now could change things. Khalil's also sued the Trump administration and has said officials are targeting him. He's also called them fascists. In a statement regarding this new ruling, Khalil says, quote, "It is no surprise that the Trump administration continues to retaliate against me for my exercise of free speech. Their latest attempt through a kangaroo immigration court exposes their true colors once again." Now, Khalil's lawyers have until mid-October to file their appeal. They say they do plan to do so, and they've framed this case as a broader civil rights battle. Dan, Tashani?
I mean, it is, of course, part of a broader civil rights battle. And you're all right. Like, the things being done to Mahmoud Khalil are insane. Like, his treatment and all of these things being done to him are ridiculous, but they're just emblematic of the way that the US is headed. Emblematic of the fact that the US is becoming an increasingly undemocratic. I mean, it was already undemocratic for many people and increasingly used legislation to target people. And claiming he's a national security risk. I was looking at his his Wikipedia page, known for ICE detention. citing a provision of the national green card application which he denied. And it's like, he lied about it on what? Because he worked for UNRWA. And also, I swear to God that you cannot do that. Like, that the law cannot be applied retroactively. Look at this. I don't care if I get fired. Charlie Kirk had it coming. My name is Ruben Amorim, and I am the manager and head coach of Manchester United. Bro, someone has got to add him to that list. He did associate with Hassan, yeah. I mean, that stuff is worrying. Maybe I should have included that as part of it, the stuff to do with Hassan. But it doesn't surprise me what's happening with Hassan. But just sending Mahmoud Khalil to Algeria. Like, why would you send him to Algeria? Does he have links with Algeria? Oh, he's an Algerian. Khalil was born to Palestine. His mother has Algerian ancestors who migrated to Palestine during the Ottoman Empire, which is why Khalil holds Algerian citizenship. Interesting. I never knew that about him. Arrested for having a Middle Eastern sounding name. Arrested for protesting. That's just as simple as that. He was arrested for protesting. He was arrested because he stood up to the Trump administration because he was a protester. That is as simple as that. Right. Okay. Let's cover Jimmy Kimmel now. I'll just check if there was any... Oh, no, wait. No. We'll check out Pink Pantheress yesterday. So there was a big event for Palestine with people... with a lot of celebrities. And here's Pink Pantheress talking about Palestine.
But as an artist... we have a responsibility to use our platforms. Neutrality or silence shouldn't be an option. Give Palestine your voice, and when your voice goes hoarse, hang your flags, wear your kafir, show them we are here.
That's a nice statement. Shout out Pink Pantheress. I didn't hear what else she said. I heard people weren't happy with Louis Theroux. So I want to see if I can find Louis Theroux. I'll see if it's on their Instagram. Sorry, I'm now closing stuff very quickly because PC's overreacting. Hold on. Remember to go floppy if the pigs try to arrest you for protesting. Keep going floppy. Yeah, don't do that in America. They'll probably just kill you.
There, in the West Bank, I was struck by the ways people are made to feel unsafe, powerless. Palestinians living under an occupation, a military occupation, their movement is restricted. Their homes are under threat. They're subject to a kind of slow, grinding, relentless violence. Every day I was...
Is that all we got from Louis Theroux? I heard Mehdi Hassan, people were enjoying it, but
It has been such a special evening to be a part of it, to witness it. Silence in the face of such suffering is not neutrality. It is complicity. And empathy should not be this hard.
All I'm saying is there should have been a live performance of Udrub, Tel Aviv Udrub, ha Wussayuni Yere Rabha Yabtar Belia Bel Khareba Udrub.
And it should have never been this hard. I'm just going to leave that with you. It has been...
Yeah, I mean, these are all like nice statements on Palestine. Like, they're decent statements talking about what, like, part of me kind of wishes I went. Let's see what Mehdi Hassan was
For the
saying.
past 23 months, we have been lied to, manipulated, misled, gaslit, and not just by Israel, but by our own mainstream media. When it comes to the genocide in Gaza, Western journalism has spectacularly failed us. And so it infuriates me when people say Israel needs to allow journalists into Gaza. Yes, Israel does. But Western media must stop acting as if there aren't any journalists in Gaza. The Gaza right now.
Oh shit! Wait, what? Can you guys hear me? You just told me OBS disconnected. The fuck?
Palestinian journalists. 270. That's how many Palestinian journalists Israel has killed in Gaza. More than were killed in the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Iraq War combined. 270 Palestinian journalists killed on the streets in their...
The only thing I will say is that if the Korean War happened today, bro, they would have killed as many... What was done in the Korean War is so unbelievably just despicable.
Homes with their families. Killed not in spite of the fact that they were wearing a vest marked press, but because they were wearing a vest marked press. They were not killed by accident, as collateral damage. No, they were killed as part of Israel's deliberate campaign to blind the world, to erase all evidence of their crimes. Because to the genociders, there is nothing more dangerous than a camera lens or a microphone. And so they murdered Anas al-Sharif, Hossam Shabbat, Mariam Abu Daqqa, Roshdi Siraj, Muhammad Abu Hattab with 11 members of...
Is he going to mention Rifat Al-Ariya? Because Rifat Al-Ariya hated Mehdi Hassan. Rifat Al-Ariya really hated Mehdi Hassan.
His family, Bilal Jaddallah, and hundreds more whose names will never be read aloud on CNN or the BBC. And by the way, shame on those Western journalists who have said not a word about the mass killing of their Palestinian counterparts. Shame on them. As a Western journalist myself, I can tell you all this. The Palestinian journalists, they are the best of us. They are the best of us because they are not just documenting a war or a genocide. They're documenting their own annihilation, their own starvation in real time. And so they have shown the world that you can't bomb the truth away. Say it with me. Say it with me. Say it together.
Well, I'm trying to find all of the Rifat Al-Ariya stuff, but in 2021, Mehdi wants to sound like the cool and sane guy who sees hope in the midst of darkness, and he knows he steps on Palestinians' bodies on his way up. I think it was basically about how Mehdi Hassan would basically just be, would like both sides things. Let me see if I can find him. Rafat. Hassan. I want to find like the exchange. I think Mehdi Hassan blocked him. He had beef with a lot of people. I can't believe he was assassinated 2 years ago now. Unbelievable that it's been so long since Rifat al-Hariya was killed.
There's no way out.
Poor guy. So sad. But I'm not like a big Mehdi Hassan watcher, and yeah, he's used his platform for good things and such, but
You can't bomb the truth away. I can't hear you, Wembley. Louder. Let's do it again. You can't bomb the truth away. Every fallen journalist leaves behind their footage, their words, their examples. And so it's up to each and every one of us to carry their work forward. Let us honor their sacrifice, not with fear, but with courage.
Was Mehdi Hassan a big supporter of Kamala Harris?
Not with...
No, he said don't blame Arabs or Muslims, and he spoke about how Biden's policy was terrible for optics for Kamala Harris. Do we need to keep watching Mehdi? Yeah, no. I think I'm okay. I think I've had enough Mehdi Hassan. Let's have a look at Benedict Cumberbatch reading.
On this land, there are reasons to live. This land, the Lady of Lands, the motherland of beginnings, the motherland of all ends. She was known as Palestine. She forevermore will be known as Palestine. My land, my lady, you are a reason to live.
I'm definitely like, it was definitely a good event, and you would have hoped that it would, you would have hoped that, but I can't fix the volume there. I need that, I need the thing to fix that. I can't do anything about that. I'm sorry. I can't find anything. Can't hear a word. It's just
On this land.
You can't hear a word. Really, you can't hear a word. Are you the same? Are you sure it isn't the same guy 4 times? Yeah, I mean, in many ways, I would be like, I would hope that these people would just be unequivocal, like Javier Bardem was the other day, and just spoke out about Israel doing genocide.
Sir.
The audio is fine for me. Okay. And then the gorillas showcase some rather beautiful art, which is very nice. Grok, who is gorillas? Benedict Cumberbatch. You can use an extension called Volume Master for this reason. I will look into using the extension. Final thing on Palestine for today is we're going to look at this. Sorry, I was just
Please, please, please.
Sir, I'm not the President of the United States currently. So there's no point in shouting at me. There's no point in shouting at me about it. I'm not in charge of foreign policy currency.
Please.
Well, there you go. But now listen. By the way, what's happened, I think we're going to have some time to talk about overseas. And I'm happy to address that as well. Because...
Apparently, I saw someone say the other day that apparently Obama used to pick people off from a list to kill with drones. Like, Obama helped to issue in the current situation in which we live.
These things are actually connected. I'll just go ahead and talk about it now. part of what you see in the Middle East is the consequences of a mindset that some people are worth more than others.
You bombed so many people in the Middle East.
That we're each part of a tribe, and that it's a zero-sum game. And that, you know, my tribe is better than your tribe. That mindset, at some point, if you look at it, history, results in conflict.
My tribe is better than your tribe, and that results in conflict, and that's what's happening in the Middle East. Do you think maybe destabilizing Libya and unequivocally protecting Israel, even though you knew much better than that, because you'd studied it throughout your life?
Terrible things are done on behalf of that idea. And so those who carried out October 7th had something in their minds that said, these families, these women and children that we are going to slaughter in cold blood are less than us. We are justified in perpetrating that kind of brutality.
This describes the entire history of the State of Israel. This is the entire history of the State of Israel, by the way. Like, literally, the reason that the British in part supported it was because they viewed Jewish people as in closer proximity to whiteness.
And those who are now saying, we're going to withhold food and medicine and shelter from millions of people as a consequence of those awful events. That also is dehumanizing the people in Gaza who are suffering right now.
This is the shittest statement that I have ever heard on Palestine. Fair play.
Now, I want to be clear, I'm not...
And also, King, no offense, but Jimmy Kimmel being first in the title, and you're only discussing him 2 hours near the end of the stream, especially when Hassan is about to go live. Yeah, I know. Probably should have reordered the title or just started with the Jimmy Kimmel stuff, but whoops.
Drawing equivalences, this is because...
But just discounting the way in which America has operated, the way in which America has given Israel unequivocal support, and not saying that that is actually what matters and what has allowed Israel to do these things.
Because this is part of how our debates get bogged down. What I'm saying is that when we don't see people as people, bad things happen. When we dehumanize people, bad things happen. And America, at our best, stands for the idea that everybody counts and everybody's equal under the law. And
why would you support the Saudi bombing campaign of Yemen then? Like,
and has an inherent dignity and respect. And that idea, when we lose that idea here...
Who is clapping for this as well?
The whole world gets dimmer. And we're seeing it right now. Autocrats feel like, oh, we've got license now.
Your administration, his administration, right, said of Sisi, his Secretary of State, John Kerry, praised Sisi for restoring democracy. A few weeks later, Sisi would massacre more than 1,000 protesters. He refused to call what Sisi did a coup. You are the one doing this. You are the one who did this.
Because America, they seem to be okay with it. In fact, they're kind of doing some of the same things we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it is utter trash. Also, just on the topic, I actually didn't mean to clickbait. It's kind of, it all got thrown out of whack by the Your Party news, and then kind of I started focusing on the Palestine stuff. But I do actually want to talk about this. I guess Bernie Sanders calling out a genocide, but I'll start covering this instead. We'll listen to Ryan Grimm talking about this. Actually, no. Let's start with Jimmy Kimmel. Let's start with Jimmy Kimmel, I guess. That makes more sense. So Jimmy Kimmel was taken off air for this. Jimmy Kimmel was taken off air for this comment.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
That's it. That's what he got taken off for.
We were just about
Yeah. I realised Ryan Grimm wasn't talking about that.
to walk in. Interestingly enough, they waited to pull the plug on this right as the studio audience was about to walk in. It wasn't like this morning or last night. They waited for everyone to...
But he didn't even say that he was MAGA.
Lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Doing everything they could. He didn't even say that he was MAGA, just doing everything to say that it wasn't one of them.
They waited to pull the plug on this right as the studio audience was about to walk in. It wasn't like this morning or last night. They waited for everyone to come in to work.
Actually, you know what? That is one of the most terrifying statements I've ever heard. This is what domestic terrorism looks like.
Today, they didn't tell us what had happened. They just said that the show was canceled. Initially, my concern was, I hope everyone's okay, no one got injured. As they told us the show was being canceled, at the same time online, they announced that it was indefinitely, which we can probably assume is forever, taken off the air because of certain comments.
No, but what I mean is he was saying that they did everything to prove that he was not one of them, in the sense of like, oh, this kid wasn't MAGA.
That were made, which I was not aware of, and then I went to go look to see what those comments were, and they didn't really seem to justify, the means. It seemed to be a bit extreme.
Activate. Now is the time to get together. Now is the time to find people.
This is like 9/11 for liberals.
People that are just like you, who feel the same, and join with them and drag them along tomorrow, 4:30, right here. Be in protest, standing with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel.
They've taken away the slop, and now the Americans will start to understand.
And go after anybody that is opposing them.
Oh. A second cancellation has hit the various late night Jimmys. So sad. But yeah, I mean, right, let's have a look at the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. I need to, hold on, I just need to get the Rolling Stone article. That's what I was saying in Discord last night. Take away America's TV and the country will collapse. Take away late night hosts. Who will interview Dua Lipa now? Who will interview any of these people now? It's just so petty and all of this stuff. But as I say, like as I kind of put it earlier, I'm no like Jimmy Kimmel fan, but I do feel like that this is just a major turning point, you know, and the shootings were part of that. I mean, actually, you know what? Like, having all of the tech gods and the elites of American society, I guess they're not even the traditional elites. They're the new elites. They're the new elites of American society who are fully aligned with Trump. It's not, as I said earlier, it's not like when the Washington Post or whatever it was writing about how Trump needed to be gotten rid of as a result of January 6th. Just seeing if I can find what I'm looking for. I saw this earlier. Yeah, the New York Times. Trump is to blame for Capitol attack. Today, all of them are too scared to even release any kind of article like this. And this article was meaningless. It was a platitude at best. But the editorial board, the president incited his followers to violence. There must be consequences. The editorial board of the New York Times said this. Like, all these editorial boards came out and said, Trump has to go, and all of these things, and now they are bowing down fully to him. So, Trump is to blame for capitalism. Yeah, Trump is to blame for capitalism. But no, capital is now just collaborating fully in terms of, like, these big businesses. They're not, like, suspending Trump anymore from Twitter because he upset them. Now, Trump is elevated by Twitter. I will interview Dua Lipa in the most apolitical way, Mr. Trump. Yes. You have to interview him in the most apolitical way or else. Jimmy Kimmel is the latest late-night host to be pulled from a major network after the comedian made remarks about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk amid pressure from Donald Trump's administration. I mean, the funny thing is if he'd gone like, oh, Charlie Kirk got it and he deserved it, you would be like, yeah, I can see why, you know, Trump has done that. Not in the context of, like, it's justified or anything, but this just such a benign statement. It just seems like a personal, a personal thing. Like a personal thing. Jiangmi Kimmel, yes. Jimmy Kimmel will be preempted indefinitely, an ABC spokesperson told the Rolling Stones on Wednesday. The spokesperson did not clarify the reason behind the decision. The news arrived shortly after Nexstar kicked his late-night show off its US stations. Kicked his late-night show. Oh, yeah. Nexstar's owned and partner television stations affiliated with the ABC television network will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in the ABC-affiliated market. Difficult. Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, called Kimmel's comments offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse. It just doesn't feel that way. Like, you heard those comments, even if they just insensitive in our political time. What, because they went slightly against what Trump believes? Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, Alford said in a statement, adding, "We have made the difficult decision to preempt his show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move towards the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue." During Kimmel's Monday night monologue, the comedian criticised right-wingers for trying to score political points off Kirk's murder after they spent the weekend attempting to blame the left broadly and trans people more specifically for the shooting, well before the public knew much, if anything, about the shooter's motives. This is the quote exactly. "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang, desperately trying to characterise this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Cooler heads are not prevailing. No, they are most definitely not. What are they... Did I see... I think this is in the document, and I'll check it. I think they're playing, like, some Charlie Kirk murder thing. Hold on. Hold on, we can see the full statement released by them. The largest owner will run a state TV style Charlie Kirk memorial instead of Kimmel this Friday. You must eulogize Charlie Kirk or die. That's the rules in America these days. Eulogize Charlie Kirk or die. That's what you have to do in this wonderful world. Yeah, they're playing a memorial for him. Sinclair says Kimmel's suspension is not enough, calls on FCC and ABC to take additional action. What would be additional action? Curly Shark. Did I just say Curly Shark? Sinclair's ABC station to air special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk during Jimmy Kimmel Live, a Friday time slot. Sinclair, the nation's largest ABC affiliate group, objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. As discussed with ABC earlier today, Sinclair decided to indefinitely preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live beginning tonight. Following these discussions, ABC's suspended production of Jimmy Kimmel Live. The amount of times I have said Jimmy Kimmel Live is bad for the mind. And also, why does it not have an exclamation mark here? Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country, Vice Chairman Jason Smith said. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities by airing a memorial for like the most racist guy, one of the most racist guys that you could quite possibly dig up. Really respectful discourse. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big national networks. Wow, this is just crazy. Like, for saying that, for like the most mild, boring ass statement about Charlie Kirk, that's it. You just get this. You just get this. Guys, Curly Shart, you're gonna get the Chris Kunzler YouTube channel removed for typing Curly Shart and all of these things. God, no one's gonna love you, idiots. Yeah, I mean, it's just, what is this? Sinclair's ABC stations will air a special in remembrance... Sinclair's ABC stations will air will air a special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk this Friday during the Jimmy Kimmel Live time slot. Sorry, it has to be said with the exclamation point. Why is it that you have to say... Why is it that you, have to eulogize him? Like, what will it be? Like Charlie Kirk's epic own of 15-year-old feminist child, or Charlie Kirk owns the gay people. Maybe they'll just do a memorial of Charlie Kirk's views on black people. Is that like good constructive discourse for this kind of time? I assume so. How are they going to do that without quoting him, lol? When will he be declared holy in the MAGA church? He's already holy. Charlie Kirk is already this martyr. Right, we're getting to there. Sinclair's ABC station will air a special... Oh, sorry, we just read that. In addition, Sinclair is offering the special to all ABC affiliates across the country. God, Jesus Christ, imagine if we still lived in a time when all there was to just watch network television, and you all just had to bow down and watch the Charlie Kirk in memorial special. You know what? You've actually hit the nail on the head there. I would love to watch something that explained how Charlie Kirk's face got so small for his head. How is that plausible? What issues coming from a face that small? Like, what actually becomes of you? People are even eulogizing him in Europe. People eulogize the Charlie man everywhere. Who doesn't eulogize Charlie Kirk? You've got to eulogize Charlie Kirk. Clerky Charles. Sinclair will not lift the suspension on Jimmy Kimmel live on our stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Sinclair also called upon Mr. Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. But his wife doesn't care. She's busy grifting. She hasn't got time for a statement. Furthermore, Sinclair asks Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Oh my god, you have to give money to the Nazi media party, Der Stürmer. You have to give money to Der Stürmer these days. Regardless of ABC's plans for the future of the program, Sinclair intends not to return Jimmy Kimmel live to our air until we are confident that appropriate steps have been taken to uphold the standards expected of a national broadcast platform. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You have to donate to Charlie Kirk now. Not only do you have to watch the Charlie Kirk program, you have to donate to him in respect for his great discourse that he gave this world. What an insane statement. My fucking God. My Lord. Oh, I thought that this was a video statement, but great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel Show live is cancelled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. President DJT. My God. Genuinely, it's crazy how the descent into fascism just comes from banning Americans from watching Jimmy Kimmel. Praise his holy racism in Kirk's name. It's what Jesus would have wanted, bro. Everyone praising the man who just hated, despised black people. Right, let's have a look at Brendan Carr's statement. I want to thank Nexstar for doing the right thing. Local broadcasters have an obligation to serve the public interest. While this may be an unprecedented decision, it is important for broadcasters to push back on Disney programming that they determine falls short of community values. I hope that other broadcasters follow Nexstar's lead. My goodness. The internet will be regulated. TV will be regulated. The chairman of the FCC, as Eminem once said, how apt, I'm wearing the Eminem shirt. The FCC won't let me be, and they got a damn point. The FCC, first they came for Eminem, but I did not speak out because I was not Eminem. Then they came for damn Jimmy Kimmel, and I did speak out because I love this guy's show. Like, what does Jimmy Kimmel even do? I know who he is, but like, I don't know shit about what Jimmy Kimmel is actually doing. Someone posted a very apt image, which was not even what Jimmy Kimmel said. Charlie Kirk's shooter was MAGA. We should... crossed out. We should murder the homeless. Talk show comedian. Yeah, I know. Pfft. Jimmy Kimmel who is Billy Baldwin. California strong. Jimmy Kimmel gets cancelled. Brian Kilmeade gets nothing. Al Franken canned. Oh, that's not even Charlie Kirk. It's the guy who said to murder the homeless. Weren't loads of homeless people shot in Minneapolis? Yeah, 2 days ago there was a shooting at a homeless encampment after it was called for, like a direct shooting by a TV official. Sorry about the Maori nutcases. They are paid by Israel. Oh, I don't care. I know exactly what they are. The right chants Jews will not replace us. The left chants this is what democracy looks like. Republicans mock the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband and remain silent on the assassination of Melissa Hauptman. Democrats say they don't agree with Charlie Kirk on many issues, but completely condemn any and all violence. See a pattern here? And then this person posted, marked safe from watching Jimmy Kimmel. Hypocrite fuck. Love gaming, politics, debates, and cinema. Agnostic, left-leaning, independent. Wow. There are profound things going on. Sinclair is also very religious, if I'm remembering correctly. I can't confirm that, but mad. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Too many dates to remember. 7/10, 9/15, 9/11, 9/10. I mean, this is 9/17, 2025, the day they took him off. Government mandated podcast. You must listen to this if you don't listen to this. But yeah, let's just carry on with this. So that's what he said. Fox News, for its part, took these comments to mean that Kimmel had suggested the Kirk shooter was part of the MAGA gang. Though that's not really what he said. Earlier on Wednesday, Trump's Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, publicly called on licensed broadcasters. Listen, we are going to pretend we pushed back on the Comcast. I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney. Listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcasters are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. Oh my word. Carr said Wednesday, speaking with a conservative podcaster, Benny Johnson. My God, you literally have, like, the people who just have told so many lies, and this is what they're doing right now. They'll come for Palestine-related stuff. They'll come for Hassan. You won't be able to watch Hassan Piker anymore at some point, I reckon, in the near future. I reckon they'll be told, remove Hassan Piker, and you'll all have to watch Tectone. If you don't watch Tectone and Asmongold, you are shot. Thank you, Noxolotl, for being here. Have a great rest of the day. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Carr added. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action. Frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. The decisions by Nexstar and ABC to silence Kimmel over relatively innocuous comments is the latest sign of how terrified major corporations and media companies have grown of the second Trump administration. The president and his lieutenants have made clear that they're willing to leverage the full weight of the federal government against networks and their parent companies, especially if TV personalities or comedians on the network say things that annoy Trump. I fear for Hassan's life. Well, I don't think Hassan will be out in public. I think it is worrying, and I think it is a troubling time. Trump boasts that Kimmel's suspension is great news for America. Oh, this is just related content. South Park pushes new episode. In the hours leading up to the decision to pull Kimmel, two sources familiar with the matter say executives at ABC, its owner Disney, and affiliates convened emergency meetings to figure out how to minimize the damage. Multiple execs felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, the two sources say, but the threat of the Trump administration retaliation loomed. God, that is crazy. This is just straight, yeah. I mean, Trump has very quickly announced fascism. Lieutenant. I thought Chris would be the sort to say lieutenant. Yeah, I probably would, but it's just a mixture. They were pissing themselves all day, one ABC insider tells the Rolling Stone. Even before Trump won the 2024 election, he and some of his closest advisors had plotted how to use the FCC and other powerful federal organs to punish late-night comics who Trump has hated for years. It's just so petty as well. I guess, like, you know, it's just so pathetic. Like, that you have to listen, that this is just the world in which you live, where Trump is just going to remove you from power take away your show, take away everything if you don't praise him enough. But it doesn't surprise me. It's not that they're just scared. This has a lot more to do with corporate mergers that these big companies need FCC approval on. So they're bowing down to Trump to get approvals on illegal mergers. Yeah, we'll talk about that next. But it is also just the fact of like, all of these people are just like, we want money more than we care about standing up to Trump now. Trump will cause, and I guess that feeds into exactly what you're saying there. They want their money. They care about continuing themselves. They don't care about standing up for what's right. The year is 2027. I turn on my TV. Every channel is Tommy Innit. Huh? Oh well. I go back to sucking my Huel through a straw. Drink your Huel, eat the bugs. Even before Trump won the 2024, late last year, Trump was getting ready to retake the presidency. ABC agreed to pay $15 million to settle his lawsuit against the company. The lawsuit, which was widely seen as unlikely to succeed, revolved around claims made by ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos about how Trump had been found liable for rape. Trump was found liable for sexual abuse. Big difference. God, Trump's only an abuser, guys. In order to end the lawsuit, ABC News agreed to deliver millions to Trump's Presidential Library Foundation. The move concerned the news company's employees at the time and presaged a much larger trend in which big corporations have lined up to settle Trump's lawsuits with multi-million-dollar payouts to his library fund. Carr's demand that licensed broadcasters refuse to air Kimmel's show and Nexstar's quick compliance with this request comes as the company prepares for a corporate merger that will require FCC approval. Nexstar is already America's largest owner of TV stations, and its $6.2 billion merger with Tegna would allow them to get even larger. Last week, Kimmel, a vocal critic of the Trump administration, advised his audience to respond with empathy in the aftermath of Kirk's death. Instead of the angry finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it is horrible and monstrous to shoot another human, Kimmel wrote on Instagram on September the 10th. On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks, to all the children, parents and innocents who fall victim to senseless gun violence. It's not a coincidence that Larry Ellison just offered to buy TikTok after his son acquired the Free Press, CBS and possible Warner Bros. I just need to remove one part from there. The Free Press was bought because the Free Press is meritorious. The Free Press is brilliant. The Free Press is some of the best reporting that we've ever seen of our time and definitely should be valued at $200 million. But yeah, NBC, do you think it's appropriate? So there's a slight update here.
For Brendan Carr to threaten the companies if they didn't take action?
Hold on, let's just move this here. Senate Majority Leader on FCC Chairman.
Is it appropriate for Brendan Carr to threaten the companies if they didn't take action? Find you guys.
He just walked off. Bro was not interested in talking to them. Just walked straight away. I mean, I guess they're just not going to address any of this, and they're just going to continually make things worse for everyone. You guys heard about Lutnick's son having some sort of investment in business, buying the rights to tariff refunds from companies. I have no idea. I have no idea what that even is. There's just so much stuff going on. Right, we've also got
Who would you like to see replaced?
We've got a Trump statement on this. Who would Trump like to see replace him? There's this guy coming out of Germany. His name's Joseph Goebbels. Brilliant guy. He had very similar views to Dear Charlie.
Kimmel on late night.
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him. Guy had no talent. Kimmel had, look, he was fired. He had no talent. He's a whack job.
He's a whack job.
But he had no talent, and more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings. His ratings were worse than Colbert, I think.
Well, left no doubt there, Sandra, as to how he feels about this.
It's too bad he doesn't share his feelings and his opinions a
I know,
little
he
bit
always
more.
holds back.
Because we had a king in England who was locking people up in England and here in the United States because they disagreed with them and voiced dissent. So we're sending a message. We won't be silenced, but we also need to make sure others stand up and resist this, because those who cave in, those like ABC who cave in, what they do is give the bully an even bigger appetite. And when they appease the bully, they put all of us at risk.
I think the risk is already there. I think the risk is already there. I think the risk is already developing. And this is entirely the fault of people who've set up media corporations like this. I mean, I think that Chris Van Hollen is right here. But at the same time, I think that the problem is well beyond Donald Trump. I'm just seeing if there's any other, like, updates about this.
With those.
Mike Pence, an advocate for conversion therapy, seems to have like a more balanced opinion on any of this.
It says we mourn with those who mourn and grieve with those who grieve, and I just have to tell you, I knew Charlie Kirk. He's a good and godly man, devoted husband.
Yeah, okay, he's still fucking Mike Pence.
Father, important voice in America. I'm heartsick about what happened to him, and I truly do pray for his family, commend law enforcement, the community, and but you understand the anger in this moment.
Pence, why are you commending law enforcement? They did a heinous, terrible job.
But I think we got to be careful about putting America on trial whenever we see evil overtake the hearts of any individual. And in this case, absent additional facts, there was one person responsible for Charlie Kirk's assassination. He needs to be brought to justice, swift and certain. Can people in public life do better in the way that we speak with one another and about the issues facing the country? Of course, I think democracy depends on heavy doses of civility. But Charlie Kirk was a champion of the First Amendment, a champion of free and open debate. He ultimately died defending it, and I think on that principle, we should stand and ensure that it's part of his legacy.
It goes beyond one.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a better statement than anything Trump is saying, but like, and it definitely is one person who's responsible, but at the same time, you know, you can see this has all been turned up by many people. Mike Pence is the next to go. Mike Pence is going to be shot by the FCC and sent to prison by the FCC for daring to speak up against what is happening. Right, I'm going to do the Ryan Grimm video next, I think makes sense. Actually, no. Probably this recap makes a lot of sense. So to recap recent media events, Larry Ellison's son bought CBS News and promptly began remaking its news as a conservative network. Bro, it is Succession. This is just Succession. Apparently there's already a House Oversight Committee investigation into this. Larry Ellison's son bought... We learned Ellison and Trump donors at AZ16 would get to buy US TikTok. ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel after a mere threat by the FCC. Sure feels like American Orbanism. By the way, Orban ran on a platform of anti-corruption, so... Ellison is going after Warner Brothers now. Didn't you say that he didn't buy it? I can't wait for the incriminating ChatGPT messages from Mike Pence. Oh, what generated of him messaging the shooter, please shoot Trump, is probably what we're going to find out. Did he forget that Trump wanted him whacked? Charlie died for our sins. Charlie died for everyone's sins. Right, well, I think we'll check out... finally, I was able to catch you live. They're about to make a deal. Oh, Warner Brothers. I was able to catch you live. Catch you streaming. Lots of love as you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. Ellison, thank you, Shreni, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Ellison is waiting for the FCC to approval for the Warner Brothers deal. My God. I also guess that this is a huge problem for a ton of actors who've just said that they won't work with anything that supports the genocide because none of them can work with, none of them can now work with Warner Brothers, right? And that's like a big movie studio. It is crazy seeing the capture of media, but also at the same time, are we really surprised? Like, I don't know, we saw all the tech billionaires fall in line and do exactly what Donald Trump wanted, so unfortunately, it's just not surprising, is it? Great stream. Good night, Chris. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about the order of the stream. I kind of fucked it up a little bit. I fucked it up. Charlie Kirk has risen. I saw a video about him being Jesus, so I assume that he's risen. There's a good Guardian article about Barry Weiss, the People's Queen. Which do you guys like it when I just read through an article? America is indeed doomed. Just a reminder, Skydance just bought Paramount, so Skydance would own CNN with a Warner merger. God, and the entire thing just owned by... It's just so few people controlling everything, but... Ugh. Who would think that after encouraging gun access, hate towards minorities, and minimizing gun violence, he would fall victim to hate and violence? Exactly, and inflicting such a despicable hatred specifically against trans people, and that there's then someone who had a trans partner would, you know, feel specifically targeted by him. Charlie missed the 3-day resurrection because his wife was too busy taking Instagram pictures. Skydance is owned by Larry Ellison's son, David Ellison. It's just mental, isn't it? You know what? Succession wasn't a drama. It was a documentary. Holy wisdom shitballs. Do any of you remember that tweet where it was like... Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. Here it is. I think this was a joke, but talking to my 82-year-old mom about all the news of Trump, she interrupted me and said, Hoss, the only way I can stomach to watch that pre-death bloated mango Mussolini on the news is with my resting bitch face applied and a glass of wine at the ready. Holy wisdom shitballs. That's an amazing tweet. You keep asking, do I cook well? I can cook, but I'm not great at it. I can cook. Why do you ask if I cook well? Last month, federal regulators approved the long-anticipated merger. Sorry. On one hand, I'm worried about the increased censorship, but I recognize that they are doing this because they're losing the narrative. I think one thing I want people to realize as well with TikTok is TikTok should only ever have been an entry point. TikTok is limited in the sense of form. TikTok is a platform where mostly you're dictated how you should think and feel about things by people who know more about them. But what you should also be doing is like going on and pursuing things on TikTok. And so in part the TikTok ban and stuff doesn't necessarily scare me. And I think when people worry about how social media platforms are organized, like Elon Musk taking over Twitter was bad in the sense of he manipulated an algorithm to how he wanted, but pretending it was like a magical leftist platform before was stupid. And people will do the same with TikTok and they'll be like, oh, it was so radically pro-Palestine. Bro, look at people's content on there and how it's limited, and look at how pro-Israel content is intentionally boosted. Avachai Adare, the Israeli spokesman, is literally boosted on there. But I mean, still, it being controlled by so few people is crazy. Tink Tonk. What is that stupid thing called? They're gonna ban my lives for being too goddamn subversive. Greetings to Chris in the chat. Hello to you. Hi, No comment on that to do with Neil. Every single platform is controlled. Did you season your food? You don't look like one. Do you think I just eat unseasoned food? The implications of the... Last month, federal regulators approved the long-anticipated merger of Skydance Media and Paramount Global, positioning David Ellison, the founder of Skydance and the son of mega-billionaire Larry Ellison, as one of the most powerful figures in US media. Paramount Skydance Corporation, as it is now officially known, is one of a small handful of American conglomerates, with Paramount Pictures, cable networks such as Comedy Central and MTV, and CBS all under its umbrella. CBS, in turn, runs one of the major US news operations, with nightly news viewership in the millions, and 60 Minutes still being the most watched news program on network television. I mean, not long ago, they did do, they did do like an interview with, what's his name? They did a fucking interview with, the guy with like Mossad and stuff, justifying and explaining the pager attack like it was epic. But, the implications of the merger are far-reaching and were already being felt ahead of its final approval. In July, Paramount agreed to pay Donald Trump $16 million to settle a lawsuit over a 60-minute segment the president disapproved of. And a few weeks later, CBS controversially cancelled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which many observers speculated was at least partly about jettisoning an outspoken critic of Trump in anticipation of the deal. By the way, the only thing about this is that if you even ban like the most liberal critics, all this is going to do is push people towards way more extreme, like way more actually significant criticisms of Trump. Like, if you're not even allowed to be like, ooh, the Charlie Kirk shooting, I said one thing about this, if you said one thing about this, you're getting taken off air. It's going to push people towards other opinions about Trump. But one of the most buzzed about aspects in Paramount's possible acquisition of the Free Press, the digital media company founded by Barry Weiss as a Substack newsletter in 2021, and Vice's potential new role steering CBS's editorial slant. In July, the Financial Times reported that Vice was seeking around $200 million for her website, more than double its valuation of a year earlier, and more than the site's admittedly impressive 155,000 paid subscribers, roughly a tenth of total subscribers, would seem to justify. What does it mean, total subscribers? Is that, I don't know, would seem to justify. That same week, the media newsletter Puck published an anonymously sourced report that Vice would possibly be advising David Rhodes, a former CBS and Fox News executive, as the current chair of Sky News, in the event that Rhodes resumed running CBS. And just last week, Puck reported that the deal was all but finalized, with the Free Press to be acquired for somewhere in the $100 million to $200 million range. Less than Vice sought, but nothing to sneeze at. Is that the phrase, sneeze at? I always thought it was, I don't know. And with Vice tasked with guiding the editorial direction, this would be amazing stuff. Barry Weiss editing CBS and helping to move it and decide what anything is going on with it. But when it comes to like the UK, you then have BBC News and its online Middle East section edited by, Rafi Berg, an out-and-out Zionist. If all this comes to pass, it will cement Vice as a key figure in shaping the national news environment, just 5 years after her much-publicised resignation from the New York Times over what she characterised as a censorious and hostile workplace. This came in the wake of the resignation of the editorial page editor James Bennett after a staff uproar over the publication of Senator Tom Cotton's opinion piece calling for military intervention against BLM protesters. Who the fuck is paying for a Free Press subscription? You're looking at the man. I have 100,000 Free Press subscriptions. I love Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss is brilliant. Her and Dougie Murray, great Dougie Murray, the fan of the Nazis, they're so great. Barry Weiss. It is crazy that people who are associated with like overt fascists, Douglas Murray, racist, fascistic pieces of shit, are just going to be controlling everything that you consume. Can't wait for this.
From the Free Press, this is Honestly, and I'm Barry Weiss. Now, when we planned tonight's conversation, I imagined that we would sort of be...
Honestly, the Free Press talking with Douglas Murray. But there's a whole nexus of all these people who just support... Wait, what? Look at the Free Press's viewing figures. Defying the Assassin's Veto, 3.2k views. Woody Allen on Life, Death and Movies. Why are you interviewing Woody Allen? Why would you interview Woody Allen? What's the point of interviewing him? Gazan Boy found alive. The hoax that fooled the world. 70k views. Israel strikes Hamas in Qatar. What comes next with Haviv Rettig Gur? What do Russians think of the war? This is shit. This has terrible viewing for like an entire media operation. And for something that apparently has hundreds of thousands of people paying subscription fees. Why would this be a thing? Why would this be worth hundreds of millions?
The Iranian transition to democracy.
Who is this? Eli Lake. No one is watching this. How is this worth $200 million? Does anyone want to buy my YouTube channel for like 100 million? The press is free. Barry is reporting with Douglas Murray. It's a money laundering scam. No, it is literally just about inflating the profile of... But I feel like even this inflates the profile of Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss is someone who got fucking... Barry Weiss is... Barry Weiss is someone who got fucking Rifat Al-Ariya, someone who was genuinely a brilliant individual, killed. That's the only thing that this woman has done that is within my orbit. I don't know shit about her. Some Douglas Murray quotes mask off time for Barry, if it ever was one. Conditions for Muslims in Europe must be made harder across the board, called Islam an opportunist infection, Muslims a demographic time bomb, and that mosques should be pulled down. As documented in his notorious speech, What Are We to Do About Islam? Here she is with Douglas Murray. Over the past few months, my friend Douglas K. Murray has emerged as perhaps the most important defender of the West. Was worth the flight to Tel Aviv to thank him in person. And they're both gay. They're both LGBTQ+, I found out today. Interesting. 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 If all this comes to pass, it will cement Vice as a key figure in shaping the national news environment just 5 years after her much-publicised resignation from the NYT over what she categorised as a censorious and hostile workplace. This came... Oh, sorry, we read that. Vice is no stranger to publicity. Since 2019, she has been the subject of mostly fawning profiles in Vanity Fair, Semaphore, Los Angeles Magazine, The Times of London, The New Statesman, The Financial Times, and her former employees of the Wall Street Journal and the NYT. The product of an idyllic and fiercely Zionist upbringing in Pittsburgh's Jewish community, she first gained notice for her campaign against pro-Palestinian faculty during her undergrad years at Columbia University. What an amazing achievement, harassing people doing important work so you could then go on to justify the murder of children. I bet she sat there like, I'm such a victim of these poor people. I know these people are so anti-Semitic. And then just uses her platform to spread misery and get people killed. A stint at the Bret Stephens-run neoconservative Wall Street Journal editorial page followed, before she and Stephens both departed for the NYT, where her tenure as an opinion editor and writer was stormy. Well before her resignation, she and her wife, fellow voluntary Times exile Nellie Bowles, decamped to Los Angeles, where she wasted little time launching a new project. She co-founded the heterodox University of Austin and launched a Substack, originally dubbed Common Sense, and then rebranded as the Free Press, which quickly acquired venture capital backers. And there you go. Has Barry Weiss, brilliant name. a sizable subscriber base and an editorial staff numbering in dozens and including many media industry veterans. Her triumphant return to NYC last year marked her as a power broker in her own right. More than any other figure in her age cohort, Vice wrote the playbook on cancelling anti-Zionists and woke progressives, even as she decried cancel culture and claimed to be a champion of free speech. And with the free press, she has developed a whole newsroom around that mission. The Guardian put detailed claims in this piece to Barry Weiss and the free press and did not receive a response. Has Barry Weiss? Nelly, more like smelly. Hashtag libs destroyed. When New York Magazine convened 57 of the most powerful people in the media to discuss the industry's future last year, Vice was on the list. A month later, after Trump's victory, the Free Press co-hosted an inauguration party with Elon Musk's X and Uber, attended by the former British Prime Minister, Liz Truss. Does this not just feel like the biggest inflation of her? That she's got venture capital backers, that all of these things are just collaborating with Elon Musk as X and Uber, that she is a talentless hack held up because she is just someone who is good at spreading Hasbara. Hasbari Vice is, yeah, we'll call her that from now on. Hasbari Vice. And Dr. Mehmet Oz. For each of her haters, and there are many, Vice counts Jeff Bezos, Jerry Seinfeld, whose daughter is on the staff at the Free Press, of course she is, and Sheryl Sandberg among her fans, and Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, and Howard Schultz among her financial backers. She doesn't just speak to the 1%, the conservative pollster Frank Luntz told the NYT last year. She speaks to the 100th of the 1%, and they'll listen. Is this just not an indication of the fact that she is a talentless hack and all she does is just spread Hasbara? I mean, it's in the name, Hasbari Vice. In just a few years, Vice has gone from a punchline in media circles to one of the most influential names in the industry, one with a genuine popular following beyond insiders and donors. Is that really the case? I'd say that Douglas Murray has more of like a popular following outside of institutional donors. Like, Hasbari Vice's first post about even this. For those on the right who might like what they're seeing from this FCC, remember that the Democrats will wield this power again. This has 58 likes. This has 58 likes. Ken Klippenstein is a more powerful and significant journalist than Barry Weiss. 35 likes on a tweet. 100 likes on an interview with Woody Allen. 1.6k likes with Pam Bondi. Does this really look like this power broker with a huge backing and support? I'm not so sure it does. I think it screams and smacks of someone who is just genuinely in a position where they are completely inflated because they have huge institutional backing. In just a few years... here we go. Her stunning comeback is a tribute to her hustle, her oft-acknowledged personal charisma, and above all, her unapologetic support for Israel and attacks on progressive social justice dogmas, often disparaged as wokeness, both of which align her with some of the most powerful people alive, even as they alienate her from many of her generational peers in journalism. You keep saying that Jerry Seinfeld is going to be... I'll be so excited to watch Jerry Seinfeld on there. But while Vice is widely understood as a provocateur, what is less well understood is how she has used the free press to empower right-wing factions within established Trump elite institutions, and how her efforts have been turbocharged by Trump's return to the White House. If Vice does join CBS, it will only formalize the role she has already carved out as the Trump administration's de facto ally in its efforts to silence progressive and pro-Palestinian voices. Vice will be an ideological commissar situated within the highest levels of the media business, wielding her considerable platform to help the White House enforce compliance in spaces that fostered resistance during Trump's first term, the media, academia, and civil society. baby, these are wonderful, sounding things. But by the way, in a field like the media, remember that this repression was going on heavily during the Democrats and Biden's term in office. So don't just act like these are things that have occurred under Barry Weiss and are rather part of a rightward shift to silence pro-Palestinian voices, because they are so contradictory to both of the powers, both of the parties that be, and also to capital as a whole. Because when you look at the level of complicity from Western companies in this kind of thing, and the precedent that the Holocaust, the litigation of the Holocaust did not deal with in terms of companies and their collaboration with, you know, a genocidal entity like the Nazi Party. I think there's much to be said about these people's complicity and the realization that many people, when they get the chance, will be out for blood when it comes to these entities. No one watches these shows, I think, when you look at it. To get a sense of the kind of opportunities Vice might have to influence her decisions and coverage, it is worth flashing back to this year, back a year, to the fall of 2024. On 30th of September, Ta-Nehisi Coates appeared on CBS's morning news show, where he was interviewed by anchor Tony Dokoupil? Is that correct? The message, which includes a scathing first-hand account of Israel's occupation of the West Bank. Dokoupil questioned Coates aggressively, some would say condescendingly, over what he called a one-sided depiction of Israel, and the interview was litigated on social media for days, pitting supporters of Israel and Palestine against each other on predictable lines. A week later, the Free Press joined the fray with an exclusive from inside CBS News, where the Coates interview was at least as divisive as it was in the wider public. On the first anniversary of the 7th of October Hamas attacks, someone high up at CBS leaked recordings of an editorial meeting to the Free Press, revealing that, as the site's editors put it, the network's top brass all but apologized for the interview to staff, saying that it did not meet the company's editorial standards. Though the article acknowledged CBS's legal chief correspondent Jan Crawford defended Dokoupil's chief tough questions, it portrayed the meeting overall as an example of the woke conformity endemic to institutions such as CBS. How much more is there to read? Not too much. Okay, cool. The sad truth is Coates is not speaking truth to power. The Free Press editorialized in a sweeping indictment of both CBS and of elite liberalism writ large. He is echoing the new consensus of the powerful. It's so funny reading this, but it's not surprising that so many of these people are just using this as a means for a crackdown, because it's what they've been doing for years. How in any way is criticizing Israel a wonderful message of the powerful against poor pro-Israel people? Barry Weiss has an entire media career that is basically just owed to being good at doing Hasbari Weiss, as she is now called. Versions of the message, one can find more sophisticated versions of the message in the course catalogues of Ivy League universities, the editorial pages of leading newspapers, and in the reports of well-funded NGOs. What is this even saying? What is this even saying? Of course you can find this kind of stuff there. It is journalists like Tony Dokoupil, who are an endangered species in legacy news organizations, which are willing to the pressure... which are wilting to the pressure of the new elite consensus. Small bean ethno-state, I know. A month later, Trump won the presidential elections. Since then, what the Free Press editors termed this new elite consensus has been under siege from the federal government, which has openly sought to purge anything it considers wokeness from universities, newspapers, and NGOs, and in particular has sought to criminalize pro-Palestinian activism and criticism of Israel. Vice, who has represented herself as a leading defender of free speech, has in effect leveraged her publication to help the government suppress it. If you work at a liberal institution and you want the Trump-controlled federal government to step in and discipline it, Hasbari Weiss is there to help. The Free Press's involvement in the administration's war on Columbia University, Hasbari Weiss's alma mater, and full disclosure, mine, I socialised with Weiss as an undergraduate, though we have not spoken in years, Christ almighty, has been a case in point. Why are you socialising with Barry Weiss? I bet she was an arsehole then too. Trump's Joint Task Force to combat anti-Semitism chose the Free Press to break the news on 7th of March that the administration was withholding $400 million in federal grants to Columbia over the university's alleged failure to combat anti-Semitism in the wake of the 7th of October attacks. Essentially, the opening volley in Trump's assault on elite higher education 2 weeks later, on the 21st of March, Columbia conceded to Trump's blackmail, agreeing to place its Middle Eastern Studies department, which Hasbari Weiss has been crusading against since she was an undergraduate 2 decades ago, under academic receivership. Just 4 days after that, the Free Press published a leaked transcript of a private Zoom call in which the university's then president Katrina Armstrong told about 75 faculty members that she did not intend to comply with all of Trump's demands, despite her public surrender. 3 days later, Armstrong resigned, and according to the NYT, a key reason was that Trump's anti-Semitism task force expressed concern over the transcript leaked by the Free Press. This is just horrifying, isn't it? This is just horrifying. Listening to fucking Hasbari Weiss do this kind of shit. Hasbari Weiss pump out this kind of stuff and make you lose your stuff, lose your job. And yeah, I did Middle Eastern studies. And the funny thing is I don't know how the America is, but Middle Eastern studies in the UK has been securitized and controlled and affected heavily since 9/11. And it wouldn't surprise me if the same goes in America. Yes, there are professors who teach very differently, but the idea that this is like some evil institution is ridiculous. But of course, they want to shut it down because it's teaching a generation about decolonial thought from the Middle East. Hasbari Weiss's publication, in short, was the preferred vehicle for conveying information from Columbia insiders who wanted to purge all criticism of Israel from the university to the Trump administration officials who were using unprecedented financial pressure to help them do exactly that. Just as with CBS a year ago, Hasbari Weiss and the Free Press were there to help reactionaries. The damned reactionaries. I hate the goddamn reactionaries. At elite institutions advance their internal turf wars. And unlike a year ago, those reactionaries can now count on the full weight of Trump's authoritarian administration to back them up. Anti-Semitism Task Force sounds like they do anti-Semitism, which, okay, maybe the description is apt. Of course, they're only fanning the fucking flames of anti-Semitism. The same playbook can also be seen in the Free Press's efforts to discredit National Public Radio, which from 1971 until this summer served as America's major publicly supported broadcaster. Last April, the Free Press published an error-laden article by disgruntled NPR business editor Uri Berliner, who accused his employer of pervasive liberal bias and of betraying America's trust. Berliner was predictably hired by the Free Press 2 months later. If you are a shit journalist, welcome to your free job at Hasbari Weiss's Free Press, where you will do nothing of importance, where you will do nothing that people view, but you will get a fat bag, because Barry Weiss is so affiliated. And this is just heinous stuff. Berliner was predictably hired by the he was being invited by House Republicans to testify against his former employer. In July of this year, Trump's allies on Capitol Hill voted to defund NPR, and the Free Press published Berliner's victory lap. The pattern is clear. If you work at a liberal institution and you want the Trump-controlled federal government to step in and discipline it, Hasbari Weiss is there to help. I mean, this is just the point at which it is undeniably fascism. And first they came for Mahmoud Khalil, and then they came for Jimmy goddamn Kimmel. And when they came for Jimmy Kimmel, that was the end for me. There are real stakes of Vice potentially joining CBS. If Paramount's acquisition of the Free Press goes through, Hasbari Weiss will probably be in a position to recruit a network of snitches and right-wing thought police, both from the existing CBS staff and from her own publication, ensconced throughout one of the 4 largest US media conglomerates. CBS staffers are reportedly apoplectic at the news of her impending role, with some raising raising concerns about a hall monitor approach to coverage, and others threatening to resign. Resignations Ellison and Vice might welcome, as it would give them an opportunity to start fresh. Hasbari Vice could be responsible for shaping coverage and enforcing her own orthodoxy, especially with regard to Israel and its critics. What the fuck do you mean? Like, when it comes to Israel, we already have a very controlled media environment. Yes, this will be a negative change, but I would say that this is just more of a negative change in terms of a full descent into fascism. An issue which Vice has consistently provided cover for Netanyahu's genocidal government. This would represent a shift for CBS. Paramount's outgoing chair, Shari Redstone, is an avowed supporter of Israel, who has reportedly been outraged by 60 Minutes coverage since the 7th of October attacks, and has openly expressed hope that the Trump administration could force CBS to clamp down on Israeli bias. Anti-Israel bias, which Vice is ideally suited to facilitate. This would represent a shift for CBS. Paramount's outgoing chair, Shari Redstone, is an avowed supporter of Israel. Fucking hell. Yeah, but they're already in positions of chairs. Outgoing chairs. She's already in the position of power. Last month, the Free Press sparked widespread outrage by publishing an article by staffers Olivia Reingold and Tanya Lukianova, who reported that the starving Palestinian children, whose images appeared in multiple mainstream media outlets, were all suffering from pre-existing conditions such as cystic fibrosis or rickets. A clear attempt to bolster the narrative the publication has been pushing for months, that widely reported famine conditions in Gaza are a hoax. Reingold and Lukianova's article drew condemnation from many quarters, including from the president of Refugees International, who pointed out that it is precisely children with such conditions who are most vulnerable to famine. Yes, this is exactly just the stupidity of the stuff that they are saying. But the Free Press brushed off its critics and claimed credit for pushing CNN and the Washington Post to caveat their coverage in light of their reporting. Journalistic outlets love to boast of their impact, and this story has had more than its share, wrote the editors. As to if to prove a point, Netanyahu himself posted a video of Reingold defending her work with the caption, "Facts matter." The Guardian stands by the stories it published that included the images and said that the photos did not act to deceive. Right, we're heading to the end. This will be the end of the stream today. One of the critics of the Free Press singled out was Ben Rhodes, a former top advisor to Barack Obama, who the Free Press noted was once nicknamed Hamas, an epithet used by his Obama administration colleagues, Rahm Emanuel, who sat for a friendly interview with Hasbari Vice, for his willingness to criticize Israel. In an appearance on Pod Save the World, which is part of Crooked Media, the independent progressive podcasting network run by former Obama staffers, just as bad probably, Rhodes called Reingold and Lukianova's reporting sociopathic and grotesque. "There's something wrong with you, deeply, deeply fucked up," he added. These would be harsh words coming from anyone, but Ben Rhodes is the brother of David Rhodes, who has been floated as CBS's next executive and who reportedly would be working closely with Vice. In Ben Rhodes' 2018 memoir, The World as It Is, he acknowledged political differences with his brother, while also saying they have always been close, that he would also speak publicly with such undistinguished contempt about Vice's media company. In that context, suggests serious alarm at the possible direction of CBS. I mean, this is of course alarming as fuck. Alarm is a justifiable reaction. Vice has often been underestimated, but the success of the Free Press to date vindicates her seemingly limitless ambition that in spite of internal turmoil in May, the media newsletter Breaker reported that the Free Press had seen a number of notable departures amid its rapid expansion, that the staff had been skeptical of Vice's chaotic management style. Oh, and that the staff, sorry, I'm getting tired. But in the context of Trump's federally funded culture war, it is unclear any of that will matter. In order to avoid the president's disfavor and present themselves as worthy of access, legacy media companies are desperate to tap into the audience and the relationships that Vice has so effectively courted. Although the Free Press did not respond on the record to The Guardian's questions, a source within the Free Press defended the range of views the organization publishes and emphasized that it was not a partisan shop. When Trump first ran for office, Vice positioned herself as a never-Trumper, following the lead of her mentor Stevens and other prominent neoconservatives, and in 2017 she described the first Trump administration as shambolic, but this February, as Trump kicked off his second term, by the way, also just a damning indictment of why all these never-Trumpers are not worth listening to, why all of these people are so malleable and so pathetic when it comes to just, actually when it comes to getting money and any of this. They don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck. God, Trump will crash the economy before they finish anything. I mean, perhaps, but yeah. Vice told Fox News' Howard Kurtz that her stance on Trump has softened. I'm the first to admit that I was a sufferer of what conservatives at the time would have called Trump derangement syndrome, Hasbari Vice said, claiming she cried at her desk the first time Trump won. Now she explained she had come to appreciate Trump for two main reasons. First, she saw the left's overzealous, out-of-touch, hysterical reaction to him. It's so funny because she is literally participating in the more fascistic element of Trump and is just like, yeah, it's fine because I'm doing it now. As extraordinarily authoritarian and totalitarian in its impulses. And second, she approved of some of his actual policies, noting particularly his Israel-aligned moves in the Middle East. The Free Press claims to be independent and non-partisan, and ahead of the 2024 election, it canvassed its own staff and determined that it was equally divided between supporters of Trump and Kamala Harris and neither. By the way, that is a damning indictment of the Kamala Harris campaign, that half of the Free Press staff were apparently pro-Kamala Harris. But during Trump's second term, the site has been noticeably sympathetic to his administration. As the Unpopulist has carefully documented, Hasbari Vice made a choice in the Trump restoration era rather than to position the Free Press as a heterodox champion of classical liberalism as it was initially presented during the Biden years. She has aligned herself with the White House's priorities. The hiring of Baita Ungar Sargon, a formerly left-leaning journalist turned fervent MAGA pundit, this April was a clear sign of Vice's repositioning. This choice has alienated many of her former champions. For instance, Glenn Greenwald, who achieved a public rapprochement with Hasbari Vice in the early days of the Free Press. Both Hasbari and Greenwald have thrived and handsomely profited on Substack. Has since excoriated her for consistently attacking the free speech rights of Israel critics, but it has also set her up well to ascend to an even greater influence. Vice is not afraid to burn bridges, scandalize critics, or be branded a hypocrite in pursuit of power. In that sense, she has something in common with the president, who has done so much to enable her rise, but Trump could never operate in the kind of spaces where Hasbari has been able to flourish. With her education, experience, and extensively cultivated networks, she is uniquely well suited to the prerogatives of those in academia, media, publishing, and similar sectors who feel threatened by progressive social movements, liberal institutions produced by Vice and by Hasbari, and now at least one could be liberal institutions produced by Hasbari, and now at least one could be hers to remake. Right. God, thank you so much. This has been a long-ass stream, nearly fucking 5 hours. One day I'll be doing 5 hours on YouTube only. But that's a time for another time. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here and supporting. I hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. Might be live tomorrow. I'll see what I'm doing with the Ethan Klein thing. But yeah, thank you. One day I'll be doing 5 hours on YouTube only. But that's a time for another time. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here and supporting. I hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. Might be live tomorrow. I'll see what I'm doing with